enough of me, let's get back to this gorgeous view. I hope that you enjoyed the show. Welcome to the Black Pew.
Black Pew Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. We got a full crew today. Everybody want to give their names and their signs and their birth dates.
Well, dang.
I'm down.
No, just the last four.
5, 2, 7.
Just the last four.
Blood sample.
No, we
Your zip code.
Blood type. Right.
No, we got. It's a bunch of. Everybody's in here.
Okay.
We just gonna get it. We're gonna start this off because we've been chopping it up. They was getting on me.
Oh, here we go.
Unfairly
Life
for
set
my
you up for
dietary choices that are not anywhere like odd.
Being on the condiments.
Not?
What?
They're
You
not-
said that are not odd?
They're not odd. What are
Yeah,
you
that
talking
was a
about?
buzzer to say.
Try again. Let's try again. Rewind
Try
that
it
back.
Lie detector. What was
right
doing
along.
that?
Ain't nobody ask y'all to judge what we talking about. Okay, first topic is, of course, everybody saw Jussie. Jussie.
I think it's
It doesn't
Jussie.
even matter. We know who it is.
Smollett, the Jussie Smollett case. He got found guilty. It was a quick case.
Of course.
I felt like it was quick.
I mean,
After the
I
last
feel
2
like
years.
didn't they see him? Wasn't it taped or something? Didn't they find they taped him? They found a tape of him practicing the
2 a.m. in Chicago. They said somebody was outside. I was like, yo, this is a wrap. I already knew it was BS after they said that.
That's the thing. Like I remember when it first happened.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, "Oh, justice for Jussie," and,
Right.
and, like they had the proud like it was, and then
Gotcha.
I wasn't. I don't think I wasn't in like the minority, but like I didn't believe it. I just was like, let's hold on.
That's where I was at.
I
Let's see
mean,
how this
I
plays
knew
like
out.
a
I
rumor.
yelled,
That's a strong.
"Cap."
Like I feel like to say it's not true. It made me raise my eyebrow because I'm like, for that to even start surfacing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, why would they ever say that? Because I was fully like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. You know, like, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, wait,
And as
why
it
would
continu-
someone even question that? Like,
And at first I was like, so we're not. So why are we questioning that?
Yeah,
And then as
exactly.
things started to unfold, and as
Oh,
more
now
started
we
coming
see.
up, I was
I was
like,
like, oh shit.
maybe he did lie.
I'm,
As things kept coming up, I was like, oh yeah, no, that nigga planted that.
I'm gonna say I'm in the minority real quick because when I heard that about Chicago, I had just came through Chicago, and I'm like, it is like ungodly out here. Like
I
your
was born in Illinois,
bones get
baby,
cold.
so I know.
Yeah, your bones get cold at 2:00 in the morning.
Yes.
And then he's like, he went on the trending topics of Google, typed in all the things that were popping, and just added that to his story. And I was like, cap. That's what I knew. I was like, yo, this is cap. Watch it. Give it 5 days. It's gonna be bad.
It was like, yeah, because the wind chill in Chicago is enough. The wind chill is racist.
It is.
Yes.
Super racist.
The wind chill is racist, but actually it's not because it doesn't matter. Black, blue, white. It doesn't like you.
It doesn't like you.
It is
Yeah, it's
actively,
coming for humanity. It's a
Yeah.
whole
It's
race.
coming
It's
for you.
racist.
Did he say? Did he say what his motivation was?
He was hungry, but who goes at 2:00 in the morning for a salad, bro? I'm gonna need something that's
Didn't he
gonna
go to, like,
sit a
Subway or
little bit
something?
longer.
He went to
Subway. He went to
Yes,
Subway.
Subway.
You
Subway's
go to
open that
sleep
late, it's
if
not
you're
here.
home at 2 in the morning and you're hungry.
He said he
Right.
just
And you
flew
didn't
back
prepare.
in. He said he
Yes.
just
You
flew
just
back
go to
in. He got
sleep.
off a flight and he was hungry, so he was. Thank you,
He went to
Subway
nasty
salad.
Subway over Jimmy John's over all of the other
Oh,
options.
A
okay.
noose?
Like you ain't
Oh,
got
A red
one booty
hat
call you could
at
go
At 2
see
o'clock in the morning
city.
in the middle of winter in Chicago.
That's not.
And 9 times out of 10, you were gonna have glasses, like you're gonna have shades on. No matter what, you're gonna have shades on.
You
You're
don't
gonna
have
black.
exposed skin at
Yeah.
those temperatures.
Yeah,
Like it
so
was
no-
just, I just knew off the rip. I'm like, bro, you could have just toned it down a little bit. You could have said, yo, I was in Chicago getting Subway, and then these guys ran up on me and they said, it's like, we hate niggers, right? Let's say something like that.
Yeah.
That would have been cool. The red hat, the news, all that. That's not
Yeah.
even a demographic, bro.
It's not even a demographic.
It's
It
not.
was too extra.
It was too extra.
Like, first of all, it's 2 a.m. Who's really spotting you? Empire. Yeah, they called me Empire, but who answers to Empire?
What up, bro?
I was like, seriously, sir?
Y'all
Like,
watching?
your interview sucked. His interview sucked. It didn't plead his case at all. It just made him look like a whole joke, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
It was really
And this
sad.
will affect his career.
He
Yeah.
has a, he doesn't
Yeah.
have a career
He's
anymore.
rap for at least
He doesn't have a career
5
anymore.
years.
Nah, she's in her lane.
That's
Right,
done.
so
That was a
Journey would
wrap.
never. How
He
dare
can just
you.
leave that to his siblings.
But-
You know, because
but
they're the
do-
ones that gotta have a career. That's it.
But yeah, I think it'll affect him different. Like it'll affect him versus like with the chick who bribed her kid's way into UCLA. She was on a Hallmark movie this year.
Can we be real? I think people appreciated that. Like they were like,
Yeah.
"Yo, I would do for my kids too."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
not
like
even
I
big.
could, you know.
Yeah, I can see, and that's the thing.
That's
I'm
my
like,
baby.
I think it depends on what you do.
Of course,
Because if he had said somebody just jacked me for my money,
Right.
and just kept it moving,
Yeah, but he went too hard. He went on race. He went on.
He was
Like,
like
trend.
exploiting all these
He was
things that were in the
exploiting
media.
everyone.
Like,
Yeah.
So you're gonna offend that
people
many
who were actually
pockets
going
of
through
Yeah,
something
like-
like this.
Yeah.
You made it seem like this is a joke, so I'm gonna make it seem like it happened to me
Yeah.
too.
yeah, because
And
MAGA
there's
people.
Don't
much
do
stuff
that.
That's really actually happening.
It's good.
You know, there's people who
I
are
don't
getting killed for loving their,
stuff.
lovers
Right.
and whatnot, and now you done made this a joke. Faggot, like seriously? Like there's, come on, sir. You could have. You
And that
could have made
only-
it be about anything else, but you made it about so many big things that are actually big things,
Mm-hmm.
and made it a joke.
And current things.
Yeah. You were just really trying to grab at people's heartstrings.
And it only makes it worse for those people who actually
Are going through that. But I loved how the family was
he
walking
exploited
behind
all
him
of
to the
that.
courtroom. It felt like they really wanted their camera time. They were just prestigious, like they were
trying to
presidential.
support.
I don't know about the support. I feel like they hadn't been in cameras for a long time. When was the last time Gullah Gullah Island was on? You know, I'm just saying.
Facts.
I'm just saying they had that show. That was a good show. I ain't gonna
This
lie.
man's
I was,
about to drop
I was
something,
Gullah
But
Gullah Island and up.
you gotta. Do you have to support your sibling
Not when they did wrong.
through the whole thing? Do you have to go to court with them?
I don't think I would have been there. I
think
think I would have
probably
just
yes.
posted something like
I think I would.
generic
Yeah,
that
I
was kind of like I
definitely
got
would.
his
I'm like,
back,
yeah,
but
exactly.
he's not right. But
I got
you
his
know,
way
family.
back. Yeah.
But me and my sister are different. So I think I would have checked her before it
Hashtag
even got
family.
this far.
I got
Thank
his
you.
back.
I'm the
I
same
got
way.
his-
I'm
way
100%
back.
honest. So I would have
Hashtag
definitely.
dead wrong. Hashtag family.
Wait, dead wrong? Dead wrong?
You know, I mean, because it's
Hashtag
blatant.
dead
You
wrong is
can't.
crazy.
It's in your face. You can't hide it. Like so, there's no point.
I'm definitely going because I like comedy. That's what I would have done.
Yeah, if I was just going for the show, but
Yeah.
to support, I'd be like, bruh,
I don't really.
like, because your head's gonna be down as they're reading he's guilty on 5 charges
stop.
out
But
of
if
the
you
6.
go for comedy,
like,
are you going to
I
be
disagree.
animated like you're at a comedy show? Are you going to laugh? Like, because if I'm going for that,
No, I'm not going to
then I'm
disrespect
being
the courtroom.
Yeah.
I'm not to disrespect the courtroom. So, like, so give me an example. I've been in the court before. So, like, I'm sitting there, my dad, whatever things are happening, and I see certain things, and I'm like, my nigga, this is crazy. Like,
Then
you
I
know,
would
so you're
just
not
not
like
go. I
laughing.
couldn't
You're not-
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm slapped like ah.
But
I
you,
mean,
like,
not
but you get it
slapping your knee,
firsthand.
but
So you're like,
chuckle,
I'd rather
like
that.
I feel like if
I'm just gonna be like this. I'm just gonna be looking at, and then when I get back to like Amber, 'cause me and Amber, we talk a lot, and I'd have been like, "Yo, this
you can
dude
do
is
soundless,
court
you don't have
thing,
to make
though.
a
Yeah.
sound. You
Yeah.
can
He
just
totally disrespected that kind of thing. He didn't know what was going on. He was going to try to take advantage of that whole situation.
Yeah.
They the state of Illinois, pretty much, they were all over this.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
were.
Yeah,
They didn't mind.
They put their
either
money in
way
that
how
case.
this turned out.
Yeah.
But
they
this-
didn't care.
This is the second time they tried the case because they got a different prosecutor, or I think they got a different judge or something like that. Because the first one got thrown out, and then this second
Oh,
time
they were gonna get him. Though.
someone
Throw
there
him
was
out? I missed
passionate
that.
about it because
Yeah.
that's how this
Yeah.
all
They
works in
they,
the
they
end.
how it
either
works.
wanted to find the person that was actually if it was a racist person, they were down to find that person. But if he was lying about it, they were down to
Yeah,
find
yeah.
him for that too.
They just wanted to put an end to it, regardless of the end.
I think they just wanted. They
That's
already
the
knew
time.
what it was, though. I think, and that's why
Yeah.
they went so hard. So, what for me, going back to my comedy, it would have been like looking at the case docket and then going on to YouTube, like this dude, like
No,
yo.
the comedy was the video of him taking the noose off and putting it back on to
Yeah.
tighten it up.
Oh my
I was
god!
like,
I
yo,
was
this
like,
dude-
where they do this at? You just put a noose on yourself. What
And then
point are we
tightened it
proving?
up?
Like, and then tightening it before the
I
cops
think
got
it was
there.
good. It
I was like, this is
solidified him
terrible,
not
sir.
gaining anything from this
Right.
because the motivation to some degree had to have been for him to further his career, boost his career
He
right
wasn't
away.
getting the amount
But
of pay
this
he wanted. Or
drop the
raise.
hammer, that won't be happening. The opposite will be
I
happening.
guess he thought that if
Wasn't
his
he still
name
on
was
Empire at the
bigger-
time? Like, weren't they
He
still?
was.
They were still taping at the time.
They're about to
They're
cut him
getting
though.
ready to
So he was like, I
Oh,
had to have a next play, but it's like you can sing. You're with the current.
He was on
Agenda.
Empire. He would have been fine.
But he was getting cut.
But he was
yeah,
getting
but
cut.
but that's
But you
still
still
his-
get
But
your
in his
royalties
mind,
and
you know,
all
in
that.
his mind,
well,
he's
maybe
like,
he
oh.
panicked. Well, who
Yeah,
knows
he
the
was
pressure
panicking.
that's on them? Maybe he
Yeah.
panicked.
But
Yeah.
there's, he needs somebody to think. But I do have to say this about there was an
was doing
IG
the
post because
weirdest
Black Instagram is amazing.
Hilarious.
They said, listen, life happens. Don't beat yourself up.
Oh,
I should know. Thought that was the funniest thing ever. Forgive me.
I saw
I'm
that
just
too.
saying.
It said, what did it say? There was another one like the Nike ad. It was like tell the truth or was it say something happened even if it's not the truth or something like that. And it's, they like, but see, the internet is ruthless.
Yo, they don't care.
Oh,
I
it's
care.
no, yeah.
5 seconds after you get beat, you lose a case.
There you go.
Just like with Derek Chauvin, when he got found guilty, 5 seconds later, the one shot of him looking like
It was all over.
it was all over.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's instant almost.
yeah,
It
it's-
might as well be.
The internet doesn't care.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
They
It's
gon-
like the Chicago win. It's after everybody.
Yeah.
No matter the race.
They gonna
It's
get
after
You could catch
everybody.
it. You could catch
Yes.
it.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
could catch it.
We gonna get these laughs, and we gonna
Regardless,
get
at
them.
your expense.
At your family's expense. Like I would have a hard time sitting at the court case because I like to laugh.
Me too.
I laugh at a funeral,
Yeah.
and I
Me-
know.
oh my gosh, me
if my
too.
brother was there, one
It's
thing,
over.
it's over. Like we were at a funeral one time, and one of
That's crazy to start. Yo, I was at a funeral one time. It got crazy.
we was at the funeral one time, and we had a cousin. He was always like over emotional and over animated, and he's like 6'6", and
It's a lot of
That's a
animation.
big animation, right?
yes,
Right.
and so he was like, we were like, oh no, Deshaun is gonna like act a fool, and sure enough, at about halfway through the sermon, he's running. When I say, you know how they run up and down,
Yeah.
he's running
At 6'6"?
at 6'6" in a suit, and me and my brother were just like.
And there we go.
The quiet part of the sermon because he's still in the back running.
Is he yelling though?
Like,
Of course he is.
It wasn't up and down the aisle. It was in the back.
It was
Across the back of
it
the
was
church?
across the back and
Okay.
up like there.
Okay,
'cause there
I
was
need
peop-
to get the
There's
whole-
people
Yeah.
like praise dancing, but there was a break.
Yeah.
And then we heard me and my brother would just laugh. We tried. I tried to hold it.
hilarious.
I tried to hold it, and I be trying to like. But you know, I'm
Hold your
gonna
composure.
get these laughs too, because then everything I ever thought about that was funny in my life,
Started
I
happening.
can laugh.
my
Yeah, everything in your mind,
Definitely
you just
happened
like.
before.
that's funny.
When I was 6 years old, that was a funny show too. Let me laugh at that right now
Right
at the
now.
most inappropriate time.
Right.
Let's laugh at this.
That's hilarious.
Definitely
laugh
got in
at-
trouble and did that before, so I know what you're talking about. So
Yeah, and it's so I know in the court I couldn't have been in there.
yeah. I mean, I could control a little bit because I'm like, yo, this is gonna be funny later because I do that sometimes. I think that might be a
Yeah,
reason
I
for
mean,
my
I can
divorce.
control. I
You know?
just smoke a lot of weed, so
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I'd probably be like, so I probably won't even hear myself like just snicker, like something. I know it probably mostly be silent facial expressions, but like, I don't know.
I don't
Can't
know how I would have
pronounce
reacted.
anything.
Now, I know I would have went. I don't think I'd have laughed. I don't really know, especially knowing that my sister lied, or because I'm sure, like,
But would you bring it up? Would you bring it up later to her? Would you?
because I would have checked her from the beginning. As soon as we'd have found out,
I
I would have
wonder
checked
if
her
they
before
knew.
any of this happened. Like,
Right.
bruh, what are you doing?
Yeah, you out here
and
in
why are
bad
you
dreams.
doing it? And what does
That's
this
what I would've
look
done.
like for your career, my career? Because his sister's an actress too. So what does that look like for the rest of us?
Yeah.
And like, what were you doing? So I think I would have checked her from the very beginning, and then I would have went, because at the end of the day, you're still my sister, you're
Yeah.
still my
Right.
brother, or
Yeah.
whatever. I don't know how I'd be reacting there, sitting. I guess real.
Because it could have cost her
stoic,
jobs.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he lied to them also and carried the
Now
lie.
she's working
Her
since
series
no more.
went out of business too. I mean, got
Lovecraft
canceled, too.
Country,
yeah,
Country,
which
whatever
was
she was
What was it?
Lovecraft
Country,
Country.
It
Yeah.
got
What's that?
canceled.
which was amazing.
I didn't
It's
see
an
it.
amazing
Loved it.
show.
It
It was. It's like.
I heard good
I've
things
never
about
heard
it
of
though.
it.
It was really good. It's kind of
Was
like.
he in it?
No, she
Cosmic
was, though.
horror meets
Toshiba.
I thought she
12
was.
Years a
Oh.
Slave.
period piece.
Yeah, like
Accurate.
late 50s, late 50s.
12 Years a Slave.
But science fiction. No, it wasn't 12 Years a Slave. No, it was like
It's
big.
It had a lot of
Different
Yeah,
things,
different
like
things.
futuristic stuff. So it was really good. It was like black sci-fi times 10. Like it was
Oh,
a
that's
bunch of
why I
stuff
didn't
that
watch
we
it.
a bunch of stuff that's not
I've
really
heard
shown
really
live.
good
watch
things
that.
about it.
It was
I
really
hadn't
good,
seen
but
It was
I
too
would-
much
I would
for
tr- I
people.
would
They
try
I
to
don't
watch
know why
it.
they canceled
Because it was different
so
than black
good.
sci-fi. It wasn't like sci-fi.
But
Yeah, I
to
was
our
gonna say, I'm
dude
not sure if you're getting
Masters,
sci-fi.
he went back
well,
to
there
it
was,
is.
there,
It's
there was
sci-fi.
parts
Like-
of it, like the part, like the monsters. There was monsters in there, and the
Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
If we
Yeah,
spoil
yeah,
anything.
For those who haven't.
For those who haven't watched.
I be feeling like after a year, if you ain't seen it. it
Okay,
gets-
I didn't know. I wouldn't
No,
go.
no,
Yeah,
I be
yeah,
thinking
yeah,
like that
yeah,
too.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like, but it was a really good series. But I'm thinking like you're thinking like it could have cost for her career. It could have set her back. Like it didn't,
Right, thankfully.
but it could have set her back some because she. But then she got the movie. She got the, was it the Harley Quinn movie? She got Lovecraft
Birds of Prey,
Country.
yeah.
And then she got something else too.
She
Well, that's
always
good.
gets a movie.
But
Every
she-
4 or 5 years, she just comes with something crazy.
True.
Yeah.
And like I don't even
And then
know.
she goes back in hiding. Then
and she
comes
goes back in
out.
hiding. She just gets a bag, and then she does what she
She's
Right,
been
and
working
then she's getting
since
her bag.
Cosby.
Full House.
I think she
Well,
was.
how old
in
was she when
Cosby's.
she did
Well,
East Bayou?
she wasn't.
She was,
Yeah, I
She was in
remember East
Cosby.
Bayou.
yeah, but that was like when she was like super young.
She was super
So
young.
that
But that's
was-
something she hasn't stopped working. She was in like
She's
she was
every
she was
every
in,
5 or 6 years she's in something.
East Bayou.
Nickelodeon. Yeah, East Bayou. Stuff.
She was in Roll Bounce.
Yeah.
She was.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
was.
She is such a pretty girl.
Yeah.
She is. Yeah, I don't know what I would have did in the courtroom either, but I would have been there.
I'm not that
I don't
type
know
of-
if I
I'm
would
not
have been
that
laughing.
sibling. I probably would have been at home. Like I can't with you right now.
I would have been
Listen,
there.
I don't know.
I don't know if I'd be on
I don't know.
which side. Like
Yeah,
if I'm
You
sitting
can't be
behind
out here
you
embarrassing
or
us
in
like
the other
that.
pews,
We've all worked
but
way
I'd be
too
there.
hard.
I'm sure they assessed exactly. I'm sure they assessed that if she wouldn't have been there, that would have been more of a negative impact,
Right.
Yeah.
or something, because
Yeah.
they strategize as families usually. Like when you have a entertainment family, like, and they'll sit and
They probably did.
what
talk
should
about
we
it.
do?
Well, I mean, even
like,
if you're not in entertainment, they strategize. They just the
True.
for
Smart
their look and
families do.
benefit as a lawyer
I mean, if
and
you look at the
things, too.
Jacksons, all of them was there
Yeah.
right behind Michael. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Whether they believed he did it, I don't know if he did or not.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he did or didn't, but no, all of the siblings were right there
Girl,
behind
you
him.
make sure
every
you
single
stay
time.
on-
Because
I ain't
listen,
gonna
I
say
don't
what
know.
I-
I wouldn't.
At the
don't
end of the
come
day,
in the
like,
comments.
you
But
know,
all
I'm
the
not
siblings
shutting
were
this
there every
music
single
off,
time, right
so-
behind him. Like
They were.
it is what it is.
Never.
But I think there's different levels to this. With that one, it was kind of like
Nah, well, you know.
there's because it's like,
It's
a little more
he's on
enjoyable.
he's on
It's a little
Empire. They
bigger.
own all. He's in a 360 deal with the TV show, so you know it's different. But yeah,
But the Jackson, I don't know. I feel like the Jacksons is always gonna be different. Like
yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like their stuff is always gonna be different. Like there's always gonna be like with Michael. There was always just the allegations, but I think they all was rock solid together, no matter what
No
happened.
matter what happened, they was
Yeah.
there.
You can't. That's wealth. You can't take wealth away. It's
True.
different.
Well, since
That's
they
just-
were young,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
were.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, they
yeah.
got
I mean, and when
wealth.
I mean wealth, I don't even just mean money. It's just that it's like we've built something that's so. It's you
They're
can't
bond.
speak
It
against
would have
it.
looked bad if they wouldn't have come. And that's
Yeah.
what it's like. So
Yeah,
that's why they were
regardless,
all
yeah.
right there, right
Yeah.
behind them every
And
single
I'm not
time.
even sure if they'd cared if it was
It
whether
would-
it
yeah.
looked bad or not. I think it's their bond.
Their bond,
Their
yeah.
bond
It's like
was
there's a wealth there
unbreakable.
that's just like,
Like
yeah,
it-
we
yeah.
created something great together, and we went through it. We created some
Yeah.
really cool things.
Yeah.
My family always tells me I don't know. I'm like, listen, I'm about accountability. Listen, I'm gonna need you not to drag me down with you because you decided to make these decisions that I know I spoke to you about once before.
So you would be the one that'd be like, if everybody's like sitting there, nobody's really breaking ice, and you're like, we just not gonna talk about
Definitely, because that was the first thing I was
How does it
thinking.
happen?
Yeah.
She'd be sitting there with her arms folded.
Yeah.
Hot,
I'm
just
for
hot.
it. Listen, I'm all right with that.
But Chris tells me, Tanya, you're so brutal. I'm like brutally honest. I'm
but-
not
I'm
gonna
not
let you
anti.
think one way or the other. I'm gonna give you my opinion because if it's gonna affect me, you're gonna get my opinion.
Regardless,
That's how you
right.
feel.
Definitely.
Yeah.
When
You know
people
what?
do
You be
things
trying.
wrong,
You
That's
she be coming for me too.
Accountability is important, though.
oh, you don't
You're
like
gonna be
being
held
come
accountable.
for a stop.
I think you can still
don't.
hold them accountable, but
Right.
still be present
Yep.
as a sibling. You could, because I agree with accountability too, but whether they agree or disagree,
I don't
or
know
on
because
their
I feel like
accountability-
maybe this is just with my siblings. It's like if you hold them accountable, they respect you more. If you give them some slack, they're gonna run all over you. That is how they do it in my family, at least.
I mean,
and it's annoying. So
I
I don't even
really
let
close.
anything
But I told him, I was like,
slide.
no, I'd have checked her from the get. But we're
Yeah.
close enough to where I'd be able to tell her, no, you're dead wrong.
Yeah.
I'm going to be there, but let me tell you why you're wrong. Let me tell you where this is happening.
Be
Yeah.
guilty and get your sentence.
Listen, go ahead and plead the sentence.
Just get it over with. Let's
Yeah,
get
but
our
you
name
could
out
be.
the
I guess
public
I
eye.
understand that
Well,
being
okay,
in
well,
the
if this is
courtroom
his
or
first
whatever.
time doing it, but if this continues to go on,
If you always doing stunts,
yeah.
you always
For attention.
You
Yeah,
always
you can't keep saying I'm sorry.
Y'all, I got this
for
new
sure.
idea. I was gonna go put
Yeah.
this together. I was just hoping that y'all would come and support
While I
me
was in
when I go
jail,
to court.
they
Nah.
I'm just like,
How
you
about
know,
we take out the
whole
MAGA?
Yeah,
We leave the noose.
yeah, and we're gonna do it in Minnesota this
Yes,
time.
we're gonna do it in Minnesota.
So we
Yeah,
got
it's more
in-
believable.
in the springtime. So
And
that
it's-
we-
yeah, so you got it. Yeah, you know,
yeah. But we're gonna do it near where Prince was. So that
Yeah,
we,
and they're gonna yell George Floyd or
Yeah,
something
yep.
like that, so it'll make sense. That'd be
I
crazy.
hate y'all.
Yeah, I'm just saying. No, he was on some BS.
He gonna be in jail watching the podcast like, dang, I ain't
That's
gonna
a
think
new
about
idea.
That's a new
that.
idea.
I don't-
I'm not gonna make some money out of it. Yeah.
Hey, anybody know who run that? Hit him up for me real quick.
Oh, yeah.
I know more
Yeah,
idea.
that guy.
Yeah, now he's about to get jail time.
He gets jail time. He's
Yeah.
actually getting
But-
Yeah, well,
jail
he's
time.
gonna get
I mean,
3 years jail time.
No, I don't think.
No.
I don't think he'll.
I don't think he'll.
They're
do a
all
day.
like 4 level, like class, like 4 felonies. So they're like super low. He might get like
1,000 hours of
30
community
days.
service.
yeah. He'll probably get probation, like most likely
If
on.
yeah.
If he does do it, it'll be like 30 days.
He's
But
gonna get-
it's going to be more like something that they probably are like the court of public opinion has already judged you. So we don't have to really throw the book at you for like this is just for us to embarrass you.
Now you got felonies.
Yeah, now you got
I
exactly.
think it's hella embarrassing.
yeah.
It is.
I feel like even with the
That did
court,
not go
like
the way
at
he
the end
wanted
of the
to.
day, it's just so
Yeah.
embarrassing. Like
But
I would
I
never.
feel like it doesn't get any
I don't
more
think people
embarrassing
care
than
about embarrassing as
having
much
people
as
see you
they
put a
used
noose
to.
around your own neck.
On social media,
like-
really?
No,
I
no,
think
no.
now-
But so get this theory. So my son, I don't let him have the tablet a lot because what happens is, and this is with everybody. I was in the house with my ex-wife and my ex-mother-in-law and all them, and everybody was there. There was like 6 different people all looking at devices at the same time, and so though you remember something, it doesn't have the gravity that it used to have. So like embarrassing somebody, having that on record and having the felony, I think was more important to them than what it was like, oh, it being embarrassing. Because I could literally go through a list of any celebrity who's gone through some really embarrassing stuff at different levels, and they're still here because we appreciate that you continue to give us content.
Yeah.
So I think that's
Yeah,
really
the
what.
felony definitely pushes it over.
But it's kind of like,
Yeah.
let's say anytime it's like, man, you a felon though, like, you know, it's something like you can like throw at somebody, you know, it's a cool like,
I
man, you got a
guess.
felony though, you know, it's like.
But anything, I'm
Yeah.
the type that like, but what was the charge? Like,
Yeah.
because stealing over $1,000 is a felony.
True, but you look at it like that, but most people look at felony. They're like,
Yeah,
you
yeah, I
a
get it.
felon,
They don't
though.
even ask
Yeah, like,
questions
you can't
anymore
get
once
a
they hear
job
it
now.
sometimes.
But I
You're a
think,
felon
but he's
type
in a
of-
space where his
Felony
felony
won't- it won't
felony
make
won't
a
like. Yeah, he
difference.
could still do a movie or
Yeah.
two. He could still do like
This stuff doesn't.
Oh,
even
his
matter.
career,
this
like
was
in
already
acting, I don't
whatever.
think that a
No.
criminal
This isn't gonna
record
change
holds you
nothing.
back.
All he can
No.
do is
Working
do
at a
another
bank and
If he's
acting.
not doing time, then none of this matters.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
his career will not change.
No, it's not.
Gi-
gonna
gi- give him a-
His
Well,
credibility,
that's not
though,
true,
like
because ain't nobody gonna want to.
I ain't gonna believe
Credibility
shit you
possible.
say.
So this is what I'm gonna do. We're gonna make a prediction. So about four years from now, he's gonna start getting into more serious acting roles. If he is that talented and he talks to the right people, then he will get that. But it's gonna take some time because your credibility. That's really the biggest thing. It's like, okay, you did some real foul stuff.
Yeah.
So we gotta wait till
Even
people.
if you're his friend, too.
Well, actually, I
like-
think he's gonna do it sooner than that.
He might do it sooner than that.
Because
But he might get some real
what he
stuff.
just now did, he just acted a role.
Yeah.
Oh, I
He
didn't do this. I didn't do
did.
this.
Yeah.
These people are coming after him for some to get him some roles.
right.
I think it's gonna happen before.
No, it might be
not.
two. It might be 2 years. I'm just saying it's going to take a little bit of time
Yeah.
for them to be able to do whatever. But he's a very talented person. That's why I thought this was so stupid. I was like, bro,
And he's relevant
you're gonna
now, so
get
they're
something.
gonna get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
really
you're
like
right.
not
People
doing
are
it
very
just to stay
forgiving.
relevant.
They are. They're
Yeah.
forgiving
Because
and
I feel
they have
there's
short-term
people
memories.
who've done worse and we're like, catch
Yeah,
that
we gave a whole-
touchdown. Like,
we
we don't
gave-
give a fuck.
we gave a whole
Let's be real. Like, at the end of the day, like, he's gonna be forgiven. This shit wasn't really that big. It was stupid as fuck.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
But like, we root for people all the time that are doing crazy, sketchy shit. That
And we might not know yet, but they're doing the sketchy stuff, but we
Yeah.
don't even
that
know
we
yet.
know there's
Yeah.
plenty of people. I
Yeah.
can't even think off the top of my head
can
right now.
tell
But
you
I
so.
promise you, there's people cheering for someone right now on TV playing football that's done convicted of whatever.
Like
It's-
Winona Ryder, she like years ago
She was stealing?
She was
stealing.
stealing.
Oh, yeah,
Often,
she
if
had
I'm not
no
mistaken.
problem.
It happened
Okay,
more than
okay.
once.
But we have
It happened
to-
a few times, if I remember right. I was younger.
We have to separate this by race a little bit, though.
Oh yeah, that's true. That is true.
Let's be
We do.
real.
We do.
Because you could do some wild. Charlie Sheen has done some wild stuff.
Oh man, yes.
that
But
is
I
true.
love
But
Charlie
no, we
Sheen.
love
Yeah,
Charlie
I
Sheen.
love
right?
Charlie
He
Sheen.
made me
But
laugh
yeah.
at the stuff he
But
be
yeah,
doing.
so no, it's interesting. But I think for black people, we'll always mention it. It's always going to be a meme.
Yeah.
But you'll probably still get some of those roles.
Yeah.
Right.
So it'll take some time. So like you said, maybe it won't be 4 years. So 4 years is kind of a long time. Probably 2 years, we'll see a couple like D-rate movies, and then he'll like get a couple, and then he's gonna get a real movie.
Charlie ain't stopped making money, okay?
Show him.
Charlie Sheen, I feel like he's the
That's
rock
a family
star.
dynasty, though.
Yeah,
That's
he is a
another
whole
family
rock star. He
dynasty.
done went off, did
That's
the
why I
most
said it's
got
a whole
AIDS.
different.
You would have thought they just said the man went and bought pizza today. Like,
He was out here.
what?
That's
Like
actually part of
A's
this image
being a
now, which is
thing.
interesting.
Yeah,
but like,
like,
if you
he's
look at
a
it with
rock
Winona
star.
Ryder, it's just like,
For them,
oh,
if that was us,
Winona looked like she was gonna do that shit one day. Like she just looked like, like let's keep it real. Like
That's
she
why I
looked
said
like
it's
she was
different.
one drug experience away from fucking going
Not
and
one
knocking
drug
off a Macy's.
Oh, don't do
Like,
my girl like
They-
that.
but
stop.
they expect it. But you're right.
I
They
didn't even
expect
mean
it.
it like that. I
They
just-
expect, but they expected.
I
Drew
love
Barrymore.
Winona. Like she was
Yeah,
part of
Drew
my
Barrymore.
childhood, but
You know,
fuck.
yeah, all
I
them
saw
and
that
stuff.
coming.
But now she's in
freaking
Stranger Things.
Yeah,
So-
because they love her brand.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
I'm saying. That's why it's different for us
She
versus
is a
them.
Stranger Things.
It's a little bit different. Like,
Yeah, like it takes us a while. Like Isaiah Washington, what the stuff he said on Grey's Anatomy got him
canned. Yeah.
canned, but he's doing stuff. He's doing stuff like he's doing lower, but it's taken a while because
Yeah.
he kept it up.
But he's never really been our actor.
True.
So though he
True.
is black, he's
True.
never been
Right.
one of
Yeah.
like so.
That's
Morris
true.
Chestnut. Let's say Morris Chestnut will always have a place over here, short of him doing some
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
But
Is
like
there
you know,
any other place for
yeah, no, because
he's ours.
Yeah, he's ours.
ours.
But Isaiah Washington, he was like, oh, he's cool. We've seen him and stuff, but he's not. He's never really been considered ours. But like Angela
Yeah.
Bassett, like if she ever did anything,
Oh, yeah.
it's like she's so loved that we probably overlook it as long as it wasn't nothing too violent. And we're probably still looking at the movie like with one eye open.
But I think also black people adopt white people. There's some white people who can't do no wrong in black people's eyes.
This is true.
Eminem.
You play a saxophone,
Yeah.
we're here. It's
Like,
sad, but
there's some people who can't do no wrong in black people's eyes.
Name
you-
some. I want to know. I'm curious.
I'll take,
please.
I'll take
Yeah,
Julia
like,
Roberts for 1,000. I don't know. I just love
Julia
her.
Roberts.
I know. I'm
I'll
weird.
co-sign
For
that.
me,
I'll
for me,
co-sign
Brad
Julia.
Pitt.
Oh, okay. Brad Pitt's right on the
And-
other
and
side.
Sting.
People love Brad Pitt.
Brad-
Yes,
done a
and
whole
Angelina.
lot of
He grew-
And Angelina Jolie.
he
She
grew-
can't,
he
I mean,
grew
Jolie,
up-
you
I don't
can't,
know
you better
if
not say a
Angelina
word.
just
He
some
grew
I'll
up,
fight you.
uh,
We'll be right here
Southern
with him.
Baptist. He grew up Southern Baptist. In my eyes, he could never do no wrong
He-
because he
Okay.
was scarred when he was younger.
Just like the rest of us.
yeah.
He
Listen,
paid. He
Hey,
paid
he
for
sat in 4-hour church services too. No, look.
No,
I'm trying to think of a couple
no,
people
but
who
yeah,
do there.
Julia Roberts for me.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Yep. He's
Tom
one that we
Hanks,
all
yes.
But
Yeah.
He's a legend. I
Yeah.
feel
Mark
like.
Wahlberg.
Yeah. Martin.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Which is
Mark
funny.
Wahlberg.
I do
Yeah, Mark
understand
Wahlberg
that,
gets
though.
a, yeah,
Mark
he gets a
Wahlberg.
pass.
I feel like Eminem because of
No,
Detroit.
after Eminem said that mess about black women, and I read it, and I was like, oh.
What did he say?
What did he say about black women?
I ain't heard. What he say, girl?
I can't quote it, but he pretty much said, like, we ghetto and we this and we that in his music, and you know, pretty much. And then years
it.
later, that you
taking
gotta
offense
watch
to
it.
That? He's in his music. He talks about crackhead white women. So,
No.
right.
This is before. This was who did it? Nick Cannon pulled up all of his stuff.
But as a mass,
It was
I would
ugly.
say
Yeah.
because he always says, like I said, if you always give credence and honor to black people, we'll always, as a whole, accept it. So you might not like one of the things he said because someone's always going to find something. But he's always said, no, hip hop is black. He says, I'm a guest in hip hop. So when Lord Jamar had came and said, it's like, yo, he's a guest in hip hop.
that's what I
He said,
respect
like,
about
no, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And so Eminem will always probably be accepted. All of us don't listen to him
Well,
and
and
stuff like
his
that.
life
but-
was fucked up. Like,
I mean,
Yeah.
he had a real shitty life. Like,
all
so
have
he's
traumas,
relatable.
so-
Like,
Yeah, so that's
you know,
yeah,
that's
but
irrelevant to me.
what is it called? But I'm trying to add somebody to the we'll take them. Of course, White Chocolate, basketball. Mike Bibby is one. Not
Mike
White.
Bibby,
White Chocolate was I forgot homeboy's name. I always called him White Chocolate.
Jason
Williams.
Williams.
Jason Williams. Yeah.
Jason Williams.
Yeah, Jason Williams.
Anybody who did basketball and you were nice,
Yeah.
we're gonna keep you. It just happens.
That is
So
true.
then Larry Bird's in
Yeah.
there. He in there too.
Yeah.
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 All right.
We'll take Larry.
I can
I think
ride.
we'll take Larry
I'll
Bird.
we'll take Larry.
I'll
I think
take
we'll
Larry.
take
Oh, Larry Bird.
Jack
Oh,
took
yeah, yeah.
Larry
Oh, no,
Bird.
you said Larry Bird.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
How about that
We'll take
brother
Larry
from
Bird.
American Gods? You ever see that show on Stars?
a lot.
I've heard it was
I heard
really
it was
good,
really
but I
good.
haven't
What
sat and
was
watched it yet.
I think you guys
My
are giving
goodness,
white people way too many
he said
passes
some
right
stuff
now.
that-
I'm like,
Oh, no, as a
Right.
whole,
We
I'm saying
reeling
black
it
people are
in?
very inviting, though.
We
We're very
really
inviting.
did.
Like they'll invite him to the barbecue.
right.
Yeah.
Before 2020, possibly.
Are there any Puerto Ricans
don't-
that y'all have adopted?
No,
Right.
no, okay, so
I adopted you,
okay,
boo.
okay.
Yeah.
Puerto
I
Ricans.
said Puerto
You're
Ricans are
you're
like
from
that.
Harlem, so you already know what it is.
Yeah.
So we don't even have to talk about it. My family's from the Bronx,
Comes.
so like yeah, you already know what it is. So that's not even discussion. Y'all are.
Y'all are.
Y'all are.
Mr.
There's no
Nancy.
honorary. Who?
Mr. Nancy, played by Orlando,
Orlando.
Jones.
Oh no, but he's
My
he's
God.
next level.
Yeah.
He's Andre 3000 in acting. That's what he is.
Ooh.
But they
Yeah.
got rid of him from that show because it hurt.
Is that
It was
the
too,
one that
it was
looks
too
albino?
different. That was different right there. What he did.
Yeah.
Is that the one that looks albino that you're always watching?
No. He's a black drum line. He was a drum major.
The head of the band.
The head of the
Yeah.
band
Let me see this.
Yes, he is an Andre 3000.
of acting. Yeah.
for sure.
He'll never get as many jobs as he needs to. But if
Yeah,
I ever
that's
get
why
rich,
George Chestnut is always getting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought we were
yeah.
talking about white people. He's full black.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
Yeah.
we switched to talk about white people, but we were also talking about
people who are.
yeah,
Yeah.
who
Who
black
are-
people who did such a good job that they got canned from their situation.
Yeah.
What's his Wesley Snipes? He's been
Oh,
taken
yeah.
out of. That's why.
My lord,
Don't get
what
Chris
is the
talking
new
about Wesley.
Blade.
No, I mean that's off top,
true story.
No, he just came back in a movie with Coming to America too.
Oh yeah,
Oh, and he
did-
also did a couple other ones. The church
that
one,
was
the one that he did
horrible.
with.
Yeah, and he just was the
trash.
one that was on
It
there.
was
So
trash.
disappointing.
It was disappointing.
It was disappointing.
Being
but
from,
that
like,
was his
you
comeback
know,
to be because they kicked him out.
where
of
the
Hollywood.
original
Like,
movie
he's
was
He
not-
did a couple movies when he came out of jail.
Yeah, he did one with
Expendables 3. I think
not
it
even
was?
Expendables 3. The one, it was actually a really good movie. It was
what, B
Dolomite.
movies?
The one about Dolomite.
Oh yeah,
The one with
that's right.
Dolomite, that was really good.
Were these
Yeah.
B movies?
no,
No,
that was
no,
actually,
no.
that was
It was
actually
good.
a good
No,
movie, but it
Dolomite
wasn't a
was
high
really
budget, but it had
It was a
Eddie Murphy
Netflix
in it.
movie. Yeah,
It was actually really
Yeah,
good.
him and Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, he did some B movies, but they were like the sequels to movies he had already done.
Well,
it
I
was
think
like
they need to give him more
Oh no, but they
budgets because he's an actor you
He's a
don't
really
want to
good-
sleep on.
Right.
yes,
I
but they
agree.
celebrate.
I do
He
agree.
gets more celebration than most people would get. So that's why I don't like feel too bad for him because it's like if you look at his IMDb, he still gets stuff after
Yeah.
that whole prison sentence.
Yeah.
Which is actually one day we need to have a topic on because Pusha T said a line in there and I love that line.
But going back to Eminem, I found it. He said, "Black girls only want money because they're dumb chicks." I felt a little some way.
That was an interview and a rap.
It was in his rap.
I'm sure it was. He
Oh,
said
that
everything.
don't.
was
I
rap.
feel
Oh,
like
yeah.
that they. That's,
I mean, I feel like you shouldn't get away with everything you say in your
but
rap
they
just
do,
because it
and if you hold
rhymes.
him
Justin Bieber just
accountable,
got
then
away
you
with
got to
saying
hold
mad stuff, too.
everything
Didn't you hear
set
her?
accountable
She said she
in a
holds
rap.
everybody accountable, even
Yeah.
Eminem.
Yeah, but
She
that-
didn't
but
even know.
you-
And you don't know, I was in love with Eminem. Boy, that was the first.
I mean,
boy
there's-
I was in
there's-
love with.
That's why
Uh,
she took it personal.
I did.
Black men
I
who
was
say
like,
worse
oh.
things about black women in
Yeah,
songs.
I think-
That to me is almost
No, I
more
know.
disrespectful.
I think that's true. It's you if we're gonna take everybody, like there's sometimes we pick and choose and we do that.
Right.
But there's also a lot of times that if we were gonna sift, we're gonna use a sifter to sift everybody's
Lyrics.
we'll catch everybody, basically. We'll catch everybody.
Literally.
We'll catch a lot of people. There's a few artists who we won't ever catch in the sifter because they don't talk that way in the music, but a lot of times there's been a lot of people who like you
I
said,
feel like
Justin
you get caught more when you
Bieber.
matter.
Yeah, 100%. It's 100%.
True. That's true. That's very true.
You know, and when you matter, that's when it hurts the most. You know what I mean? If you don't matter, who really cares what you said, sir?
No, but I think
It should be
You're
if we're talking about
irrelevant.
equal accountability. It
yeah,
should.
because even if your album only sold 10,000 copies, you should
10,000 heard it.
you should be held accountable for what was said
Yeah,
versus
true.
the album that went triple platinum and all them singles there and all the ringtones and stuff that you got people talking like. That's why some people have a problem with some of the stuff that some artists do, and it's like you can't be for women like you can be. I think that's a good there's had to be a good balance. Like you can be for women's like independence, but at the same time, what image are we showing with that independence. Can we critique that? Can we say yes, it's your independence, but did you have to do that to show
stripping?
yeah. Did you have to do that to show your independence? Like, what is it? Like with Cardi B and I love Cardi B.
Oh,
Like,
I'm a lover of Cardi B.
I love Cardi B,
like,
but I think also,
but
you can also hold her. You can also hold her accountable for a little bit for the songs.
And not even just the songs. It's like when I look at people, and my brother's like, "Why do you listen to him?" and stuff like that. I said, if somebody had a camera on you all the time with all your bad beliefs that you currently still have and everything else like that, they would catch so much on you. And can you imagine having that judgment sit on you at all times? So if I'm watching this man or watching this woman, they're a human being. And that's how I've always judged everybody. So it's like, unless an accusation is, and like, it's exactly that, it's an accusation. I'm going to appreciate you for what you've brought and what God's blessed you with and you shared with us. And that's pretty much where I leave it at. Now, if it's so egregious to the point where it's like, okay, you're doing stuff with kids and that kind of stuff, then it's like,
Or
of course I can't rock.
lifestyle like R. Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but this is my thing. Even with, and like I said, people can disagree. It's like I think this was the scariest thing. I'll just say this real quick and we can move on to the next topic. The scariest thing in the world is I tell my family and stuff, someone I have an impeccable reputation around. Someone can say something about me, and if they say it long enough, and enough people get behind it, it can be whatever. There was it can bring So I said, and literally it could be as untrue is. So that's why I'm always mindful of that, because it's like, how many people have in the Innocence Project have someone said something, and so that's why I said I treat everybody like that, because it ultimately comes down.
Imagine a lot more people.
Yeah.
The entire world.
The
not just
world
your
now,
community,
the
your
court,
family.
and that's why I'm saying I would never want to be. So that's why I don't judge people like that. I'm like, hey, I appreciate what you did. I did, I receive it. All your flaws, we're all human, but at the same time, like I said, there's some stuff I won't rock with, but it usually comes like, you got to be pretty ridiculous for me to like not rock with you. I'm not accusations, all that kind of stuff. I'm not getting with that, because I'm like, these are accusations until I look at it, judge it for myself, and then I choose how I decide to interact and rock with you. So
I just compartmentalized it. Like, I feel like she's an adult entertainer.
Yeah.
She's not. I'm a mother. I would never put on her. If I rock her music in the car, then it's immediately my problem if my kids are repeating that. Like, I make that decision for them, so it's hard when you start picking and choosing what you hold people accountable for. So sometimes it's better to just
It is
adopt.
not Cardi B's fault that these kids out here doing what they do.
She do what makes the
no,
money
yeah.
to
And
boost her family, and that's
but
it.
at what
That's a
cost?
fair
So that's what I'm
point.
saying.
That's a fair point.
I
Like,
got 4 girls. If they're over here on any Snapchat or in her car listening to it,
Who's allowing it?
I didn't excuse me. I can listen to it, but do I listen to them in front of my kids? Absolutely not.
yeah.
I was listening to Salt and Pepper
There's
Push
so
It.
many
I'll
other
never
choices.
forget. I was like, Mom, I want my first tape, and I grew up and my parents had Rapper's Delight playing just like they had Spanish music. And my mom went out and bought this tape, and I'll never forget, she popped it into the kitchen, to the boombox in the kitchen. She had no idea what was about to come on. And she had no idea I was about to start busting that move with the hand back. And she was like, and the beat dropped, and she popped that shit right out the thing and was like, what's this? Like, how'd you have me go buy this? And I was young. Like, I must have been like 8 years old.
Oh
Like,
my God!
9 years old.
We was
But
starting
you know how old
young.
you are. I was like, yo, you had to be young.
But so
came
now
out
when
like
you
this.
think, like, when my kids in the car and they're rapping and singing Cardi B, but at the end of the day, it's how you raise them, what you instill in them.
Yeah.
Because I didn't turn out like what someone would assume, a kid who grows up listening to that. So it really is about what. Now, if you're letting
it's a
social
different
media
age,
raise
too.
them.
Yeah,
That's
social
different.
media is raising them.
Yeah, a lot of
Electronics
people
are
let
raising
the
them.
TV raise their kids, social media raise their kids, what they learn outside of their household raise their kids.
Yeah.
And so
It's just easier. No, I'm just joking.
so
For
when
some
you do
people-
that, you can get anything.
For some people, it is.
Yeah, no, true
Like,
story.
for some people,
I mean,
it's-
a lot of us were raised by TV. I need y'all to stop lying, because you know how your
we're
parents
80s
sat you
babies for
in
sure.
front of there and you watched Sesame Street, and that was how you got your alphabet.
That's how I knew about
And you
it.
learned how to
Pepper.
sing, and you learned your dance move. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not saying that's all they did, but you spent a lot of time from that TV. When she got home, she was cooking. She was trying to make sure stuff was.
Yeah,
like,
I went to Catholic school, so my parents balanced it out. They paid a lot.
That
to
was
do
how
that.
my
You know what I'm
son
saying?
learned,
I
because
went
that's
to
what my mom told
church,
me. She's
like-
like, I sat you right in front of that TV. That's how you became a straight A student. I'm like, okay, and he is too. He was
but
too.
I think
so
it was Go ahead.
Oh, so no, I think it
But we
comes
didn't
with
have social
boundaries
media
as well,
like
though.
that.
I said I have
It wasn't
time when my
wild.
daughter is 11, and so yes, we did when she was younger. We did a lot of the stuff on the YouTube and the ABC,
But it's
the
different
ABC
now.
Mouse and stuff, right?
They didn't
now,
show
but now
what
we
they
have
show
a
now on
2 hour.
TV.
She has a 2-hour limit on TikTok. She has a 2-hour limit on some stuff. You're just going to be eating that stuff all day. That stuff
Yeah.
is dropping
But
seeds
some
all the time.
parents do not do the parental
Right.
controls, the time
And so she
limits.
has to ask me permission
You know.
for all kind
Yeah.
of things, even downloading
Yeah, because BET After
Girl,
Dark is
so-
now at 2 p.m.
Because listen,
Wait, at 2 p.m. Uncut?
Every day, baby, all day on TV.
Okay, can I?
They
aren't
coochie
doing
popping,
all
baby. They
Listen,
doing it
listen.
all now that you couldn't do
Can
on
I-
normal TV during the day.
I have
they
a
ain't doing no
story.
coochie
That's
popping.
on channel 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
All my kids' electronics shut off.
It's
at
called
9 p.m.
Zumba. No, I'm joking.
But
Nine
off at
okay,
7
but
o'clock.
Gone.
but
Done.
do we also like with the overexposure of just things period, like overexposure of bodies and stuff like that too? Is it only negative, or is there some
There's
part
a
of it?
lot
Is there
of
some part of it? Because
Yeah.
I feel like there's one part of it that's positive, is that we can take from it that you can be, because we see all types of bodies
Now.
now.
yes,
we see all types
that's
of
a
bodies
positive,
now
yeah.
Right.
that are shown on different platforms. Like
Even news. They didn't
Yeah,
used
but
to have
Lizzo be
plus-size
catching it,
newscasts.
so it's always
Yo, they give
constrained.
Lizzo all the
At the
because
end of the
Lizzo
day,
came too hard for
yeah,
them. They
there's
weren't
a
ready for what
limit,
Lizzo
like-
was finna give you.
yeah, there is a limit.
There's
yeah.
a visual
Yeah.
appeal
It's a
limit.
lot.
Like,
It's a
and
lot.
I hate that. That's what
I just
don't
like the
about
fact that she's bold enough to be her and she's unapologetic about it. Now, how do I feel about everything she wears? That ain't my business. I'm not a whole fan of every. I wouldn't.
But we're back to drawing
Unless
that
I
line.
wanted to.
Yeah.
I wouldn't unless I wanted to, because like when Chris and I, like if we go on vacation, and I believe everybody's like that. You have a suitcase that you will wear outside the state because ain't nobody gonna judge you because they don't know you out there.
Right.
I promise you don't want to look at my suitcase. But out here, you know what I
You're not
mean?
gonna wear the
It's
same
totally
thing.
different.
Yeah.
But you
You
think
know.
about that. That's the thing.
You do.
You think about it. Like there's an intention.
But when you're in that light,
Yeah,
it's
there's no
like
escape.
So with this thing, but we all understand that like the biggest thing I've talked with my friend about this is like that I haven't done podcasts or I haven't done other things like that was because it's like ultimately you're exchanging money for privacy. So like in order to receive money, and as Black people and a lot of people of color, they always have. That's kind of the only thing we've really had until we got into business, and business is becoming a bigger thing on the other side, which I love. But like you said, you think about the boundaries, and I don't think personally. You said, "Oh, there's some positive stuff." I don't think there's a bunch of positive stuff personally.
No,
but
fair.
at the same time, is like my son, because I explain things to him, because understanding is a big thing that I push for my thing. It's like you're gonna be out here. People are trying to sell stuff, so they show stuff to sell stuff to get you in the right mindset and stuff like that. So I just need you to understand that. Once you understand that, you'll understand why certain girls like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. They don't understand that they're being marketed to from 5. You need to understand that anytime someone's showing you something, they're not just showing you this for free. They're trying to get something off.
Well, for me, that the technology part of it, if you think about it, 70s, 80s, where technology has even been at, yes, there's a positive side to it. These kids watching TV or listening to music, or playing video games, where they're gaining some knowledge, and they are. That's just how the brain works.
Yep, seeds are always being dropped.
Yeah.
Right.
That's just
now
being
doing
human,
it
I
all
think.
the time. Now that can decrease their knowledge.
Yeah.
Right.
So you have to limitate things, even music, the type of music, the kind of music, whatever it is. How your child perceives that or whatever is how you raise them. Now, if they're listening to Cardi B and they're out here twerking in the street, well, they
Yeah, that's
obviously
wild.
believe that because you allow them to listen to that and
Yeah.
they're out here twerking, that it's okay. Now, if they're listening to it and then they're just listening to it to listen to it and not actually
It's entertainment.
Yeah, yeah.
going into this, trying to imitate her.
It's not a
in real
lifestyle.
life.
Yeah, it's not a lifestyle.
It's not your. That may be her lifestyle, but what you see in here isn't always what you want to do.
Right. And it
It's
goes back
Not all
to
entertainment.
kids have
It's
that
supposed to be
maturity
entertainment.
to depict that. So.
you know.
something I do with my daughter is when we hear a song and she shows interest, I break down the lyrics. She hates it. She actually hates this game. No,
You're on
That's
Genius.
very
You're on
good.
Genius
She hates
level.
it.
I'm not
And
the
so every time she starts to show interest in a song, she has to think.
man. Can you
she has to- no,
I don't have to do that. Shauna already says it.
So
I
Avery,
don't
my
even
daughter,
wanna know.
has a
I'll
thing for
be
Pop
honest with
Smoke.
you.
She likes his voice. She's 11, so she's doing the
Oh,
Pew. So she has to think
man.
for Pop
He
Smoke.
got-
And so
yeah,
as we
he
start
got
breaking
Smoke
down
Genius is crazy.
some of these
That is
lyrics,
genius.
she gets She hates the game, but now she's becoming more cognitive of what's being said. Not even just that.
Yeah.
We were listening to Usher today. My Way came on. Yeah. So she's singing the song, and I'm like, do you want to know what it's about? Of course I don't. We're going to do it anyways. And so now we get to talk about this is what. So was he cheating? I said, I don't know. He never said that he was cheating. But this is what he is saying, and this is what he is doing. And so that now brings her more into cognition as to what.
But is it taking away from the music
to what seeds are being dropped? And
But
now
I hate that going back. Because now I can't listen to SWV.
You're supposed to enjoy it. Yeah,
I can't listen to Rain.
I feel like it's genius, but when you go to Usher,
I can't listen to Rain anymore.
Stuff now, you're
break down the really ratchet shit, but like leave the Usher.
You
Leave the SWV. Like some of the stuff, like it was soft. It was soft core. You know what I'm saying? Like the pussy popping and all of that.
All of it.
But like
we don't stop listening to it.
I would hate it. Like I would hate that.
Like Aaliyah,
Tell her to call me because we'll complain about that.
the Aaliyah, like Rock the Ball, I thought she was wanting to be a navigator of ships.
We haven't talked about that one yet.
Are you done, Trey?
I thought she was wanting to be a navigator. I'm like, she's trying to be
Trying to navigate longitude, latitude.
She's trying to be a
This
captain.
is why you eat ranch on everything.
She's trying to
But
be.
you know,
Mike
when
really
you're
on?
little, like some of the stuff you hear, it hits you when you're older.
True.
What it was,
True.
Yeah,
and
true,
you
true,
still
true.
want that little bit of like funness where you're like, shit. When I used to listen to that when I was, I had no
It was a backdrop to
idea.
your, it's a backdrop to your life.
Yeah, and now-
TLC now completely.
Yes,
Crazy Sex
TLC,
Cool is
I
still
was
an
like,
amazing
ooh,
album, but it's
how
a
did
completely
my
different
mom
experience.
even let me
I have
listen
no
to
idea
TLC?
what half
know
that
what it
shit
means.
meant.
Listen, completely different experience now.
But
Completely.
But I think ultimately, like when it comes, like you said, it's about boundaries and those songs. Like even explaining that, like I can explain to my son, it's like, yeah, he says, you know what a 9 is? He said 252. That's 252 grams is a 9. You know,
What?
you get it? 9 ounces for drugs. Like okay, cool. So like, let's say if I'm explaining it, like she's explaining it to her son, like if I'm explaining everything, the beat and the chorus is still gonna be there. It's still gonna be playing in the background of basketball night. So ultimately, is how, like I said, exposure. The only thing when people talk about exposure and not holding people accountable, that gives to me is that the way our society is set up, we don't have the times. A lot of time our kids are at school that we can't afford. It's like public school, or, you know, you're with your friends, you're with all those other kind of things. So you have to be even more cognitive as a parent sometimes, just like really making sure like, hey, I really need you to be able to talk to me about stuff, or hey, I really need to do that. Like those are the things that you have to do, especially now that there are people out there talking about everything. There's so many screens.
True.
Well,
You
I'm
know,
going to be honest. It's what you just are talking about doing with your daughter, and what he's even explaining will help in the problem-solving skills with math.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Breaking
100%.
down those
Yeah.
different things, that would help because you're already starting the process.
That's why we
having this.
That's why we
these
listen to drug rap.
conversations.
Yeah.
You know, you do
Yeah, I
that when
don't
they
know
read
if
books, you
weighing
should wanna
out
break down the
drugs
book.
is really how I want.
I mean, I'm going to be
it's
honest,
like
but
drug
if
rap,
that's
you know?
what you're listening to,
I mean,
they
it
need to
will
know what's
result
going
in
on.
that.
1,008 grams of that
They
glitter. Come and
totally
get
Do
it.
you feel
Wow.
so let me ask you, do you feel that in doing that, because I feel like there's a certain innocence when you're young and you're listening to the music we listen to. Let's use ourselves as an example because it's easier to kind of self-reflect that way. And so do you feel like you're teaching them things maybe a little, like it's prompting you a little too? There's some things kids should learn early, and I agree. But
Yeah.
but like,
No, at 7 years
did I
old, I'm
really
not.
need
No.
to know what they were saying at that age? Like, would that really have
If
helped
you're going
me?
to listen to it, absolutely.
But I didn't know what it was saying. I was just listening to the music, like
Right,
part
absolutely.
of it.
But you,
If you want to listen to the music, because I mean, for me, what my girls being all different ages, my older one daughter wouldn't even listen to that music unless she'll catch on more than my 7-year-old would, or more than my 13-year-old even would. So, but they all have different tastes in music too. Like, none of my girls are out here listening to Cardi B, even my oldest being 19. That's just not their. They listen to rap and R&B, but their choice in music is, you know, I'm gonna do that technique that she's talking
My
about.
daughter thinks
I
she's
haven't
raising
thought
me.
about
I
that.
think it
My
also,
daughter
but you have
does,
to know your
because I
kid
don't
too.
know
You
half
have to
the
do it,
words that are
take
going
a
on.
age.
She's like, Mom,
We
did
have
you
a-
listen
Well,
to the
and you
words? I'm
should
like,
also
no, what are they talking
expose
about?
them
It's
'cause,
always
you know,
other
I-
words.
I-
I love a beat.
doses.
Yeah, like
You know,
I
'cause we
listen
from the
to
80s. When the beat dropped, then I know I'm ready. And my daughter be like, Mom, did you listen to the words? And I'm like, oh, what what are you talking about? Like, it's the other way around normally. She'd be like, no, not that one.
I mean,
turn that off.
I'm in my 30s now, and I didn't even know what Jagged Edge Closer
Yes,
was doing
she's the
in
one
talent
telling
shows.
me.
in middle
In school talent.
And I'm like, why was our parents letting us even go to the school system?
Okay, I performed Humps in a Bump. And
Wait,
she had
wait,
her Humps in a Bump. In high school.
Oh, high
Yes,
school.
we
for
did.
sure, high school.
Well, this is middle
But
school.
still,
that I was
it's
in.
still-
See, I just imagine being in
Like,
elementary, like, my
I had
chick
just had a
bad.
baby.
I
Like,
chick
they really
good.
shouldn't let me
I
do
mean,
that.
even the what is that one with the horse?
Old Town Road.
Old Town Road. They're up in the schools. Do you guys really know what that,
But
that
he,
song's
but
about?
he,
Not-
he
yeah,
eventually,
so
yeah,
good.
he
Yeah.
eventually said
Can somebody tell me
what
what's
it
about?
was, but nobody really was like.
But all
People don't
music-
pay attention.
Yeah, and that's
All
true. A lot of
we was
music.
like,
has
we
that
was like, this is the
symbolism.
first country black song
Yeah.
in a while. Like,
I didn't like
You
it.
could listen to some old ass white
Marvin
music,
Sears.
like old,
Or-
Yeah.
old.
And they was-
and there's shit that's in there, man. Like
all
it's
of
just
them.
part of expression and
Yeah.
it being a creative outlet.
Right.
I mean, it gets questionable when it's about drugs
Anybody
and
wanna tell me
about
what it's about,
stripper
though?
lifestyle, but I mean,
And just
Boy.
just to answer her question, like I'm not gonna go to like my son and I'm like, man, he's really trying to get money. I'm gonna explain to him the drug game from a rap
Right.
song.
Right.
Like, I'm not
Like
like,
the ground.
you know, you can turn one into two. You know, like, he ain't a bird if
you
you don't
want to
get
cut
fly.
with this?
You know what?
but they
I
were
can't
talking
even do
back
it.
then. They were talking about. They coded it better.
They,
Like,
It's an art. There's a
Yeah,
skill
yeah,
to
there's
it.
a skill to
Yeah,
it.
and that's what we love about those
yeah.
rappers, right?
Did
you know?
you guys hear the TikTok? There's like a clip of a woman, like a 1930s. She's singing this song, and it's like super raunchy.
Yeah.
And it's like
But it
on
sounds
TikTok.
like very-
Yeah,
He's
but
like,
it sounds, yeah,
do-wop.
it sounds like that. But she's like, I got stuff on my titties.
I've heard
Lick it
it.
off.
yeah. And you're like, wait, she was saying this, like she was saying it, like
And y'all
And
just
they was
There's
in there
always
like that.
been all of
So
that.
she-
Like,
yeah,
there's
yeah,
always
yeah.
been
The beat
porn
everything
and
from
you
the
know.
yeah, she.
Burlesque, burlesque,
$200,
you know,
yeah,
burlesque
2000.
dancers and
Burlesque was just as
strippers.
freaky
Yeah.
as it was. Yes, come on
Yeah,
now.
but like I said, I think it just always comes down to that point where it's like everything isn't like that. It's just like I said, of course, boundaries and stuff. But I do. That's the one point that I always do, kind of like depending on when it starts getting really sexual, because I'm very keen on like introducing sexuality to kids way too early. That's when things kind of start getting funny, especially when it's like like you're talking about Cardi B, like am I paying WAP in front of my son?
Yeah.
But we
at
were playing
seven-
Do Me Baby.
Yeah.
Like it was
Well,
nothing.
I wouldn't have been playing "Do Me Baby" in front of my like just because.
No,
it was-
my mom took my CDs.
Yeah, I'm kind of like a fun parent. And
Yeah,
then, you know.
nothing wrong with it.
And
Well, there's nothing wrong. I personally just I don't want to have that
anything-
conversation.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with it because like my mom took my CDs early,
Right.
and she was like, "You
It
go."
was heaven or hell, baby.
She gave me like Christian rap, and she was
Yes.
like,
Christian
"Here."
rap?
No, I had to
Was
beg
Everybody
for the
Fly?
Christian rap because
No,
they
no, no.
thought
I like
that
no.
was
There's
a
plenty. There's a
gateway.
couple ones,
I was
but I
about
was
to
saying,
say.
but
Christian
like
rap was a
What's that,
gateway
watch
to
the tone?
regular rap in my
But-
house. I was like,
I
Mama,
grew up like I feel like I grew up in what I saw a lot, like especially in the city, was parents like having so much, like they were so trying to keep their kids because like you couldn't even walk outside like without encountering drug dealers. Like
Yeah.
I grew up on 106th Street off of Central Park West.
Yeah. Ooh.
It was like crack on one street, like $100 million brownstone, very confusing. You
Very,
don't know
yeah.
where you could walk, can't walk. Like, and I grew up, and a prime example downstairs from me, like these grandparents were raising their drug addicted daughters, 3 children. So they had the 3 children. Grandparents, they got them like, here's a quarter for chips a day. They ain't giving the girls no extra money. You got to stand right in front of the building, can't
dangerous,
move. Controlling them. They're afraid of what's going to happen. And man, the instant them girls turn 13, like 4 babies by 4 different baby daddies each, like they just let loose. And so and then I saw like my parents were kind of like, no sleepovers for you, like some shit that I was just like, like really, like I don't really feel.
That's the environment they were in.
So I'm just like, but the minute that they were able to taste
because
life,
they weren't
they
taken
were
out of that
out,
environment.
like, and they were making decisions that they were never prepared.
But that's even not even
for
just life though. Going and having babies with people, you can do that anywhere. But if you're also just like you said, you're right on the corner of that. That's right outside their stoop. They don't really have to go far to find out anything else. Now, if they were out of that environment,
Element, yeah.
there could that element.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
the
I had a
atmosphere.
different upbringing, and I was raised right upstairs.
Yeah.
So I was in that element, but I was able
Different
to
mindset.
leave
But
the
they
block
broke it
and
down
go to a
differently.
museum.
Yeah.
Like I was able to, like my parents allowed me to see the city and to see like what life could be like out, you know, if I wasn't, but they just kept them so tight that they also blocked
Sheltered.
off life.
Right.
Yeah, I grew up in
Yeah.
church, and I was definitely sheltered. I remember I was 27, and I was going through my first divorce, and I started a new job, and I had a toothache, and this girl at my new job said, "Girl, you know what helps cure a toothache?" And she was like, "Tequila." I was like, "Is that a pill? Because I don't swallow
Tequila's
pills
a
well."
pill.
I was 27,
That's
and she
different.
was
Yeah.
like, "No, girl." She was like, "That's liquor." I was like, "Oh, girl, I don't drink." Like, and then we went and we got some, and I got drunk at work. It was all bad. But what I'm saying was,
Come now.
yeah, cheers, y'all. No, I'm
It
just
did
kidding.
work. It's
So you mean
But what
that
I'm
is what
saying
happens?
was, like,
I'll take the
you
pill
end
any
up so sheltered, though.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Without
it
the
hurts
knowledge
you.
of actual,
Yeah.
There's a
real deal things.
there's a balance within raising
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah,
So
it's
you don't
just
want
a
to be overly
balance.
lenient, but you don't want to be overly strict.
Yeah.
Then you have to know your kid too. As you know, I have a younger sister.
Yes.
We're only 14 months apart, but my parents had to teach us things differently because we were
Yeah,
taking information.
yeah.
I love
Like
that.
you don't want to
Yeah.
shake your
I
ass
love
to
it.
get the money
You
like that,
experience
but you
things
want to get the
differently.
money
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
You kind of have
Like,
to know.
You got to
Where's
get
the kid?
there,
Who's
like
the
see
kid?
what she has, but that's not, you know,
Right.
necessarily the path that
Right.
you want to take.
Connected last week about the giving the people experiences.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like if you're not going to give them the experience, I mean, they're going to get it from somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
All
That's
that.
what is important about
Yeah.
knowing.
Well, no,
your
because
kids.
it's so for me. I think that I grew up more sheltered because everybody in my family, as I was growing up, were alcoholics. So that's why I was scared to drink till I was
Because- yeah,
27,
because-
and so that's why I only drink on the weekends if I'm going to drink. And so, and I do the same with my kids. I'm like, they're not allowed. If I go to the store or Chris goes to the store and buys something, do not put away our alcohol. Don't touch the bottle. Like.
Right.
It's in the bag. We'll get it. We brought it. We're grown enough. Like when I go to people's house and they're like, "Baby, run to the store and run in the refrigerator and get my beer." You have your child get your beer. Like, I don't know. For me, I'm like, you can't test that. Now, my first, Chris is my third husband. So in my first marriage, shut your mouth, sir. In my first marriage, this is kind of where the downfall was because I wouldn't let the kids do that. And his parents grew up sending him to the refrigerator. And they was like, "Oh, you going to let your wife wear the pants in the house?" I said, "No, there's just different things." I said, and for me, my father was on dialysis. I'm like, and you're on dialysis. So both our fathers are on dialysis. And I'm like, how are you going to send your grandbaby to the refrigerator to get what's about to kill you?
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Traumatizing.
exactly. So I was okay with my shelteredness. Like there was a lot that I didn't know, a lot that I didn't learn, but I was still a straight A student, president of my class. I could tell you that much. And I had a baby, and that was when the Becca bill came out, so they held me back 2 years because I missed French class to go to my paternity appointments for my doctor. Maternity appointments for my doctor,
You weren't
and
that
so.
sheltered if you were pregnant, sweetheart.
Right. Well, so that was the thing. So, okay, that's a whole nother story. So I grew up, even though I was raised from kindergarten with a stepfather, but my stepfather was white, so we didn't really have a relationship. He was only close to me because he liked how smart I was. And at the time I dated a lot of white boys, so he loved it. And so, but other than that, he definitely treated us differently because he was raised by two parents who were definitely racist and did not allow us to step foot in his house. We would have to wait in the car. He would be able to go in the house, and my mom, being fair-skinned, being born with blonde hair, she looks like a white lady. She's about her
Passable,
color.
yeah.
And so, she still wasn't even allowed in the car because they knew she was black. So, but so when I was a teenager, I thought, oh, I can do this. I can be a mother. I want somebody who's going to love me unconditionally because I didn't have my dad. And when I grew up, I was a daddy's girl. And so I was like, I got this. I'm still going to go to college. And where I didn't think is at the time they did not have daycares in college. And I got offered a few full ride scholarships that I did not get to partake in. So I wasn't as smart as I thought I was. But at least, I was never on welfare. I'll give you that much. I raised that baby. I did that.
Right.
Come on.
Way to go.
Positive or negative.
Huh?
It's not necessarily just that it would be negative you didn't teach or get the experience from like your
Right.
parents or whatever. But whether it's positive or negative, the experiences are going to come in some way, just like with your coworker. And
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things just come into
Well,
your
she was
life,
military.
you know
That's
what I'm saying? So,
Yeah. But like Cynthia was saying, like you saw the different things going around the corner or on the block, and your parents are probably like, look, your parents could have been like,
They gave you different
bye,
scenarios.
or they could have said, hey, this is what that is. This is what that is. I can't protect you from everything,
Yeah.
but I can at least inform you
In this understanding, yeah.
and give you understanding, and then we can talk about this. And if you experience one of those and it doesn't go well, I can still we could still like communicate and we can still talk about those things. But I'm telling you now. But I think some people they don't get that the shelter part is like almost like don't see it.
Exactly.
Like don't see it. If it's not on the other
Close your eyes.
Close your eyes. If it's not on the other side of the hedge,
Yeah.
don't worry about it.
It's the easiest thing to do to just kind of avoid. And that's why I've always been against like just straight up avoiding things. But like balance is so real that's funny because like even coming from like the Christian experience, like it's my first spirituality language, so to speak. It even talks about balance in there. It says don't be overly wicked or don't be overly righteous. It literally says that in this book that we say, oh, it's so conservative and stuff like that. Even in that book, we're like, yo, don't OD, bro. Like, yo, like so it's just so about like I said, providing understanding, providing experiences and stuff like that. And I think that's why I kind of just rest there, like, yo, you ain't doing everything because you ain't built for that. But but like giving people understanding. So.
But I feel like
real,
the overly spiritual really like.
Exhausting.
Really gets exhausting.
It's exhausting to
Like-
watch. It's
It
exhausting
is.
to try to be.
It's
exhausting.
super
Oh
exhausting.
my gosh. And they're exhausting people. And you'd be like,
Right.
God don't even like that. Like,
Yeah.
you be like, it's
Yeah,
almost like
this
the-
don't sound right. This
Yeah.
don't sound right.
He said abundant
you
life.
trying
This
to
ain't
tell
it.
me some other shit.
like the teacher's pet. The teacher's pet gets annoying to the teacher.
Yeah, she's like, yo, chill, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, chill. Like, and there's been a lot of people I've seen like recently just like, fam.
And then
Right.
what's crazy is a lot of spiritual people have left the church to now replace it with another church, whether they realize whether they want to call it that or
Yeah.
not. And it's fine. I mean, different rituals, different rituals, but it's still ritualistic. You know what I'm saying? Different prayers, but it's still the
Yeah.
same. And not knocking it. You know what I'm saying? Because I have my own little spiritual walk or whatever. So not knocking it. It's interesting to listen to him because it's still equally as exhausting as Christians because you really did just switch one church and one ritual for another because you're still putting just as much time, just as much energy,
Well, they
just as
can't
much
be
practice,
they
just as
can't
much
be
everything.
without it because religion, simply put, is just something
Right.
for people to believe in.
Absolutely.
It transcends all
practices and
cultures.
traditions.
Imagine if
Yeah.
you took that away. Imagine if you took away the only thing
Hopeless.
people look for when there's no hope to give them
Would
hope.
never- and would never
like,
give up,
you
yes.
know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard. I went to Catholic school. I feel like that's the perfect balance. Like,
Yeah.
it's not too serious, but like you still
Right.
got to go to church on Sunday.
Yeah.
And
why
they
it's like-
there's still, the 10 Commandments. I mean, but then you got the whole priest thing, but not everything's perfect. So you're just like,
And you
gotta
live in New
find
York
the
too,
healthy in
and
it.
and
Yeah.
New York
All
is
of it.
different. Like my dad, he went to Mount St. Michael's in the Bronx.
okay.
Yeah. So it's like,
Dropping
oh, I'm
names.
here. It's like we're here. We're doing this kind of stuff, but like we're still out here selling drugs. It's like,
Oh, but you're giving the drug money to sponsor the kids on the block.
on the block,
to have a
yes.
baseball
And so it's like
team.
it just
Like,
shows
I
you that the
grew up
world.
straight bally. I can name you right now the drug dealer who
Yeah,
sponsored
exactly.
all the shit
Like
on
what's
my
the name
block
used to give
growing
me
up.
hundreds and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
New York is a different place, so it's like easier to kind of understand that righteous
we
and
had
ratchet that
mad
home
kids
place,
being
like,
raised by their grandparents because
Yeah.
the 80s took their parents,
Yeah.
the crack took them, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And the drug dealers used to make. See, that's what's different though.
Yeah.
Like, it ain't like that necessarily as much as it should be. I'm sure there's still drug dealers still looking out for the block and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we used to protect the drug dealers because they were the ones that would
We're
take
funding
care of
extra
all the
bread, yeah.
kids
Yeah.
that didn't have parents
Yep.
come Christmas, come Father's Day, come all that shit. But now, like, there ain't that respect no more.
I think there was. I think in general, and that's something maybe another topic another time. Is that just a general sense of community is gone? I don't even think
Yeah.
that has anything to do
Back then,
purely
the
with
drug
that.
dealers were
Yeah.
part of
And
Yeah.
that's today too.
Yeah.
That's today too. In anything,
Yeah.
anything
Well,
we
that
talk
was after
about,
they
it's
took
about
their
community. We
parents.
lack, I
Yeah.
think, community a lot of
I'm
times.
just saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even the crackheads, they knew how to push a lawnmower.
Right.
Or
Yeah, but the
fix-
drug dealers in my
fix,
neighborhood, like, they
they'll
wouldn't sell
find something
crack
to
to
do to
someone's
Yeah.
parents.
get that day.
Like,
Exactly.
if they knew the kid, it wasn't like that. Like, it wasn't just crack for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, they'd sell crack to the
Crack
crackheads.
for everybody.
But
That's
they
not
wouldn't
crazy.
turn
Yeah.
someone's parents
Yeah.
into a
Right.
crackhead.
Yeah,
Like,
or
that's not-
they would deny some people something. They'd be like, nah,
They literally
like,
had a line that they would not cross.
yeah,
Yeah.
or would tell on somebody, be like, look,
Yeah. There's-
That shit took
Your
forever
cousin-
to open that
It
fucking
did.
alleyway.
look, go get your cousin. Like she tried to buy from so and so.
They would let you know if your kid tried to buy some shit, even weed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's different times.
When boundaries corrode, that's where we see chaos, and a lot
Now
of
it's all about the money.
and that's what I'm saying. But a lot of American industries sometimes they thrive on chaos, and that's the thing that I don't think. Going back to like when I tell my son is like everything comes down to capitalism, and so it's like ultimately if you understand that, you can understand why certain things were eroded because it was about them making more bread, and so community. That's one thing I hope we really get back to is like just having community and understanding how much it's important for us to have. That's the reason why we want boundaries. That's the reason why you want your daughters and everybody to do this, because like I want to put them into a world and that they can make better, and hopefully the world will be better for them. That's why you want my son to be good.
Yeah. So, and how to avoid those pitfalls.
So teaching them understanding. So it's like, hey, I don't want you to run out here and have 4 babies, daddies, and 3 babies, and whatever like that. I know.
I mean, there ain't nothing wrong with it if you could support
I'm
all of
just
them.
saying,
And all of them.
That's true.
Because
That's true.
my 3 baby daddy. I'm just
No, but thing. But it's like you don't want that to be. Nobody wants that to be the end, regardless of what your situation
I don't think
is.
that's taught either. I think that's just what happened.
Yeah.
No, of course. Like my mom's been married like 4 times, and it's like, did she want to be married 4 times?
No.
Right.
No, of course
Right.
not. And it's like she would even say like, no, I don't want.
Right,
But
right.
time happens,
Right.
Yeah.
and different
yeah.
different situations happen. If she got married, something happened, the relationship broke down. There's space in between. Like nobody, like we don't live in a vacuum. You don't like. So when something stops, you don't just stop. You don't. You like.
I mean, yeah, like I'm 41 and I'm single. Like I'm still fertile. I have 2 children's fathers, 3 kids, right? 2 dads between the 3. I could go have a baby tomorrow, and now I got 4 kids, 3 different baby daddies. Like it could happen to anybody, but I think it's about who's supporting those children. Valuing yourself and when you're young and someone instilling that to use birth control properly, that those are things that are missing when you're young, right?
And
but now I know it'd be my conscious decision, like because I'm an
But that's why
adult.
community comes in. Is because I think all of us want to have an optimal end. Like there are things about myself that I'm like, dang, I wish I would have learned that I'm not proud of. But it's like community, and I think it's the part that ultimately comes out. So that was no shot at anybody. It was just a matter of like none of us. Everybody wants to be successful.
But it can happen. I was
exactly.
You're always catching up.
You're always, but if we, and I tell this to people all the time, it's like sometimes we think like we're shooting from some weird thing. I was like, no, I just want to shoot for we don't get shot in the street. I want to shoot for the point where it's like we're so economically stable that we no longer are always the news. That's all I'm trying to shoot for. That could happen. That could happen if we start building community again, start putting these boundaries around again, because I want my son never to have to go through being broke, thinking about like, dang, I got to go to Biomat again so I can pay for gas. Like, there's things that have happened in my life that I'm like, dang, I've been that broke before, and he should never have to touch that in order for him to be able to live and be viable. And a lot of Caucasian people and some of our Asian counterparts have never had to touch that because there were certain things that were instilled in them. They weren't perfect, but
a little struggle is healthy.
No, a little struggle.
A little gas money struggle is healthy.
A little struggle is healthy, but like you don't want.
I was just gonna say that because we want our kids to still struggle to know how
to get it.
That is the how to get resources.
We're always in that learning process, trying to figure out how to do it too. And I'm always learning.
Right.
And stuff that I'm learning right now, finances and stuff. I wish I would have known this back when I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
I would have been in a much better place. But you can always instill those in your kids.
The school should also be doing that.
My kids were taking.
They
I
should
feel like
be
their
having
financial
classes very
literacy. They have
young.
financial literacy.
Now they do,
In
but back in
some-
the day, my parents used to tell me, "Your job is
wasn't
school.
there. No,
Don't worry
not
about how we bring in the
Financial
money."
literacy.
Yeah.
in my
Okay,
class- in my
I went and got my first little credit card as soon as I was sent off
they
to
were waiting there
college.
for you.
They were waiting there.
They were waiting for you.
They should have had shirts to say, "Get
It's
your
like,
bad
yo.
credit
Yeah,
here."
yeah.
Okay, and they gave me my first little. I wasn't even 18 yet, and I just put a different year back in the day. They couldn't cross-reference about what in fucking
they was
97. Like, come on.
They was sitting there at the
They were
tables.
just handing them
Hand
shits
them
out.
out,
Here's
yeah.
a free T-shirt, the card that's gonna ruin your life, and then here's a raffle for that car behind us that's been sitting there for 10
That you'll
fucking
never
years
win. We just
that
don't
no
know
one's
yet.
ever won.
Yeah.
Like,
Because we don't even rap. We
yeah,
don't
but
even
no,
pick it
so
up. We
it's
just
good
come
that
up with the
our
trash.
financial literacy is
We're just barring
definitely.
it for the
And
looks
these
right now.
are the
We gotta
things that
return
in
it.
community, because even if you're not there, that's one thing I love about it. So anytime anybody comes around me and like, you're my friend, I'm gonna keep you in my circle. I show you everybody, people who are just enjoying themselves, living life, having peace, people who are getting the real bag. I want you to see everything and see how different people, and hopefully, and then pick from them, because community. Yeah. So ask her. She's really good at this. She sucks with kids, but she's good with kids, and you know, he's good with this, and so that's what community will bring. It'll make health.
I totally. That's exactly what my life consists of. That's exactly. I cannot say I got everything from one person. Being raised in foster care and stuff, I got little bits from everybody else's parents that I was around. Like, oh, I like how she does that, or oh, I'm gonna be a new mom. I don't know how to do this. Okay, I'm gonna do this. That's exactly what I did.
You had to. Yeah,
I actually for some ranch the other day. You didn't even know how to get me some. So
no, we don't eat condiments. I tell you that.
don't get me.
She did say that very early on. That her household is a no
condiments. We won't be doing that, sir. I can drop you off anything else.
What if you spill it?
Like, I'm about to put something in their backpack when they go. When they come up here.
Would you like some ranch sugar? Some ketchup? Who grows up without ketchup?
You seen when she came in here, she went over there and grabbed like 6 things. She said,
I know, she's such a kid.
Oh, yeah.
I love that, though. That's that respect. You know what I'm saying? That respect. My kids just be Capri Sun straw wrappers all over the place as far as the eye can see. Like,
I find that when, like, guests come over to our house and the girls will be like, Mom, I'm going to use the bathroom. I'm like, we're at home. And people are like, you know what, your kids? No, my kids are just so used to asking.
When there's another adult.
That's amazing. To
go eat something in the kitchen, or Mom, I'm about to go do this. They're
just jealous when they ask.
It's kind of weird though to me. I find not that they may take it that way, but for me, I'm like, I let my kids use the bathroom whenever they want. We got 2 bathrooms.
Right. You're like, wait.
You're like, I swear they don't like ask permission.
They just, it's like in transition to whatever else they're gonna do. They'll be like, oh, I'll come and use the bathroom.
Don't feel that way. Yeah. I'd be impressed. Like if I had gone to, I wouldn't feel like, think that
it's only weird when we're in our house. When we're other places, it's not. I don't get questioned in my house. I'm like,
no, I'm gonna need you to give them.
My mom used to have us like that. My mom would snap. She was the voice of God. No, on some real stuff. Like when she would talk, I was like, why are you always standing in the shadow? She just like was this figure, and it was crazy. But I love her till this day because she showed us how to move in places.
Yeah.
And though she was strict in certain capacities, a lot of things like, bro, I don't care about that. Yeah. But she was just like, so when you said that, I was like, she's like. People are like, dang, you got your kids like there.
I'm strict in some areas, but I'm more lenient in others. I want you to learn through what I've just taught you.
Yeah.
You know,
after 10, she didn't have nothing for me. I was just out here in these streets, but it was cool.
He was for the
street. But that's what I needed. That's
too, though.
See, mine are younger for my age, and so
I know how to move.
They're very cute.
Yeah, you got.
I'm an older mom. Like, I have a 4 and a 6-year-old.
Oh,
and I'm 41. So like, it's a little I just. Yeah. I know I have to discipline and do all that stuff, but it's just like
you're at a point now where you're just like.
I'm enjoying them because I didn't raise my 16-year-old. She lives with her dad. She's lived with him since she was 4, and I see her all the time, talk to her all the time. Like it wasn't no crazy ass story, but I just am enjoying it, and then so sometimes I gotta catch myself. I'm gonna take all these tips and pointers.
She doesn't pay any attention to me because I'm like, stop, go away.
I mean, the only reason why I even have those tips because I have a 19-year-old and I have a 7-year-old. Like,
exactly,
I learned through all the mistakes with my 19-year-old, and I actually can give myself props on that because she's nothing like I was. So I'm like, oh, you don't got no babies at 19? You graduate high school? Like, you're going to college? Like, I feel proud for that. But then all those mistakes I made in between, I can help my soon-to-be 18-year-old, my 13-year-old, and my 7-year-old. So, and I have 4 sisters of my own and myself. So there's so much, whether I was raised however, I have those experiences to be able to pull from, with the different personalities, because I do believe in managing personalities wherever you go.
Yeah. Okay, I got a question.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I got a question for you guys. This is one of the other topics that I had for us for today. Do we ask women to be less than in certain situations and then more than enough in others in everything else?
I need a scenario.
I can wait.
Okay,
please. Yeah,
I have a blanket answer.
I need a scenario.
I'll give you. What was I? Because I was thinking this.
I gotta go soon.
So I have a scenario.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I mean to kind of
go ahead.
Quick with it. So that you're talking about society, right?
Yes.
Society view. If you are,
I guess I think more like in relationships versus our versus like family dealings. Like, are we asking you, like, Amber, I'm going to use you as example. Do we ask you in a relationship to tone it down, but in dealing with your kids, significant other, like your mom, your dad, ask you to be more than, like, so you need to be cook, facilitator, planner, and all these things, but also that much more needs to be toned down when you're in the relationship.
Yeah, don't overstep your boundaries.
Yeah,
or vice versa.
To appease the person you're with, or to keep the person you're with.
So not me. I grew up a daddy's girl, so I am my dad 110% grand. My mother wishes I was more like her, but I am more like my father than I choose to be. And he was always very open and boisterous about what he was okay and not okay with. And that's how I am, and that's how it was on our first date. I kid you not. Me and Chris sat in his car, and I said, listen, I'm a grown woman. I've been a mother of 3 children for a very long time, so this, and this I will not do. This is what I'm okay with, and do not expect from me. And he said, you are who you are, and I appreciate that, and that's what you deserve. And we went from there. And, like, I can't allow you to put expectations on me of something I'm not willing to give or do.
And I'm so just made me think, actually, when you said that, I remember I had a friend who was recently divorced, protecting innocent. I'm not going to say any names.
Just give last name.
I ain't about to do none of that.
Right. What street they grew up on.
Right. But no, she was saying that, she worked 40 hours. He worked 40 hours. Everybody's working. And then she was expected to come home and play mom and do laundry and cook and do
that
all of this stuff.
You.
And she said, and it didn't feel fair, because when I had mentioned, hey, can you flip the clothes so I can finish frying the chicken?
Yeah.
It was an argument because you need to be able to do that. And she was like, I've worked 8 hours like you've worked also 8 hours, and I'm frying chicken. Or I'm doing whatever. Can you just go flip the laundry, put it from the washer in the dryer?
You guys are talking about my life.
Can you just flip the laundry? And I remember thinking as she was telling me this, because I've watched my parents kind of do this. Dad did do that stuff. He did clean when mom was at work, or he would have days where he cooked. And so when she's telling me this stuff, I'm like, what? Why wouldn't he think to help you? Why is it fall on you? Because that's what his mom did. And because that's what he saw his mom did in her marriage. That's what he expected his wife to now do. And she was like, well, my mom was a single mom. And I watched her burn herself into the ground, so I'm not now going to burn myself into the ground while married. So we have to figure out a different
I legit told Chris, I do not like laundry. So doing my own is a lot. He was like, I've been doing my own laundry for years. Why would I expect you to do my laundry? Bow.
And so I'm just like, you got to find the balance. You got to do what works for your marriage.
You have to speak. You have to communicate. Or they're going to expect something that they saw growing up, and you're going to expect what you saw until you communicate and discuss.
Work that out.
Like,
but no, I do think it is expected for us to be a lot analytical, because then we're still supposed to do all of this stuff, but also I need you to bend over. Yeah. And I was like, what's this? But could you have? But could you have help? So now I'm not so tired, so I can't do that for you.
Now, if he did say, babe, do you mind before
that was one of the top billing items on the.
You know what I mean?
That was one of the top billing.
But you know, that's part of the bait and switch. So I do feel that women, I feel that women sometimes, the part that they leave out when they're griping like that, and I've been guilty of the bait and switch as well, is that when you meet a man, right, you bait him, you bait him to the point where he marries you. And then all of a sudden is the switch.
But why are we baiting?
No, but not everybody. But I'm saying the women who all of a sudden, because my issue with the whole, so back to the question kind of that you were asking, I'm at the point, and it took a while because I've baited and switched, is that, and not with Jason. I don't care about throwing the name out there.
He ain't innocent.
The last four of his social is.
I started out his friend. We worked together, and then I met her.
Yeah, we'll talk about.
Look, I still love him though.
That's my-
I still love him. That's my guy.
cousin.
Switch.
Is that your cousin?
So-
You all tall enough. Y'all think same height. No, look.
That's
My
racist.
issue with that mainly is I feel that men. So in order to be all those things, so basically you should know who you're marrying before you marry them.
Absolutely. And that's
So I'm
what it
gonna
comes
just
down to.
push like to address kind of what you're talking about. So once you marry somebody, like you should know what they expect of you. Communication
Absolutely.
should be on point. All of them things should be straightened out before you get married. You go into the healthy marriage, right? My issue comes when, in order for you to, if it is the marriage where the woman is taking on that traditional role, cooking,
Right.
cleaning, whatever,
Which I
right?
love, by the way.
And
Love
I don't
the
have an issue with it actually. My issue comes when you got to be strong. You got to be independent to a point because you still got to take care of the kids. You got to be able to maneuver, make appointments. You can't be relying on the man to make your moves. So even though you're in a relationship, you're independent. You got all them tough ass qualities that are getting you and the family day to day, right? But the minute that he cheat or he act up or he do some shit, now that's where the switches flip.
Okay.
Now all those attributes that I love you for.
Are no longer there.
All right, come on, Pam.
So my issue comes when men flip the switch and all those attributes that they love you for, put you on a pedestal for, you're their queen for, keep everything afloat for, and then they fuck up, they go out, step outside of the relationship, even if it's talking, usually getting cheated on occurs first through the phone, through intimacy, through sharing shit, through connecting, like that's where the cheating so now you take those attributes and in order to survive whatever they've caused that is harming the relationship, now that's what makes them not want to be with you. You're too challenging. Now it's too much work. Now you're being a bitch. Now you're being strong. Why you want to go out with your girls to feel better? Like why you want to be independent? Why do you need time away from me? Right. Like all of those things that they praise you for. So that's my issue with the, like, do we ask women to be, less in some instances and then we flip and expect them? Because that's really like an emotional issue for women, like to ask us to switch like that, because that's who we are to the core when we have to use all those attributes.
Why you
to
saying, yeah, you ain't a woman, you don't know.
Last night he was. We don't know. I'm joking. I'm just joking.
I was like,
so that's just my deeper issue with that, because women, men can't flip like a switch emotionally like that.
Absolutely not.
So we're supposed to cut it off the instant we find some shit in your phone. Like that's not how that works. Like we are not a stop and go. We don't have a break like that. We're not a car.
we're not a machine.
At the end of the day, that's the deeper issue with that. Like the bait and switch as a whole, like you could take that two different ways, like with the bait and switch and,
I like that phrase. I've never heard that.
Yeah, I like the phrase, and I guess I want to talk because you had spoke about it, and then you also spoke about it. I think sometimes when you asked the question, even when I saw it, I was like, it's very generalized, and sometimes I think who was asking you're requiring, because when I've interacted with women, I'm like, I'm here to enjoy myself. We're going to get to particulars. And when we've gotten to the particulars, I really don't want anything from you other than you to be a decent person. Am I asking if I'm working and we're both working? Of course, we're going to share the stuff. I'm only asking you to be an adult.
Yeah.
So sometimes I feel like those things that you're talking about, do we ask women too much or too little? I think in general, there's not always a big ask. It's just a matter of like, where do you feel maybe in your past relationships you felt like you were supposed to do some things, or there was a bunch of other stuff coming in. I'm listening to 18 different podcasts by single women giving me advice on all this other kind of stuff, and I'm having all this in their head. So like there's that. So that's one thing I'm glad you talked about the bait and switch, because the bait and switch is like you did all these things to be here, and then now we're here, and we both kind of put maybe more of a facade, and that's why I think the communication was a key thing. Like I liked how you said, listen, I got kids. I've been through this.
Straight up.
That, and that. Cool. You don't have to put that on your Facebook profile, but you can put it. You could at least say, like, when we communicate and if we're going to be serious, I can't do these certain things.
Yeah, because women are trained to lie to make them feel like if I don't love what she loves to do, because I don't.
Yeah.
Right.
And for different reasons, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I do not love to cook and all that good stuff, because I grew up in a house where my mom cooked for the church, the homeless, the everything. We didn't even have normal sized pots and pans. Everything was ginormous. And me being the baby of the family, I was a mama's girl too. So I'm the only one in the kitchen cleaning after everything. everything she used because everybody else was older and when she called, nobody else came but me. So when I was ready to get out that kitchen, I was ready to get out that kitchen.
Right.
And so when
you're not capable.
No,
of it.
totally
it's
capable.
Just you don't like it.
Right.
You know,
There's
so
a difference. Yeah.
Exactly.
But-
so that's what I explained to him.
Does,
And so
man.
he said, I'm okay with that. He's like, I go to work every day and I construction. I come home and I cook for my mom now because, you know, she's diabetic and she can't do. And I was,
Yeah,
I
it
ain't
was
gonna lie,
a- it was
my
a good
exact words
match.
is, when you come
Yeah.
over here, this is going to be your same
It
role,
was a
sir.
good match,
But, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when he is tired and if he is hungry, I'm not going to let him starve. If he asks me to cook for him, I'm going
Okay,
to.
and that's
Well, and the
But-
bait is bad.
What is
because-
not
It's all about being
expected
considerate.
of you,
Yeah. Right.
you're
And that's
more
the
than
thing.
happy
Yeah.
to do because you love, because they're not talking down to you because, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. I feel like communication weighs a ton.
And that's what it is. And it's communication and knowing each other's expectations going in, especially at us in our big old age. Like we're not 18 and 19.
No.
And so
I
at
don't
this
know.
age, my profile picture is on my tags pictures. The way you see me is the way you see me.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you from the beginning, this is what I'm willing to do. And like I do,
Men
like I
still
do the
don't
hosting
be
thing. I do
straight
making the
up.
plates, and I do enjoy that stuff. But know that if I'm going to do, this is what I am now requiring of you.
Oh, he loves to make the place.
And I work 40 hours, so I'm like,
I'm
not
like,
to
they
know that when
grown.
I
They
am
can make a
tired, though.
plate.
Well, the
I am
pro- the
tired, though.
problem with
And he
the
respects
bait and
that. And so that's what
switch-
it's all about: talking and just
Yeah.
communicating and
It
setting and
is.
what works for your marriage. I know some people who
I find
husbands do all the cooking.
I'm gonna
So-
find somebody I know is gonna be my opposite. Because if we
Right.
can't be
Like
the
the
same,
things
we
that-
both arguing. We just gonna be sitting there looking at each
Listen,
other.
eating
You know what I
McDonald's
mean?
every
He,
day.
as you
Yeah.
see, he's my
Nobody
polar
cooks.
opposite. You know what I mean?
But can we talk
I know
about
what I want.
can we talk because I know we have to leave, but as far as that communication means that I comprehend and I'm also able to give the words out.
Exactly. That's it.
Because how sometimes it'll go is that women, and I'm finding this because women, it's the women's
Can
day
you
and
repeat
age.
that for me
I
for a
said
second?
communication means that I go and I try to
I mean, for
comprehend.
the
Oh, for
audience.
the audience?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
I can
yeah,
say
yeah.
it again. No
I feel like
problem.
that needs
Listen.
to be-
That's big.
Communication's about taking in and comprehending as well as giving out the speech about
Right.
what you want in your life. So
Hallelujah.
sometimes it's been happening, and this is something that's been something I've been conflicted with because I'm pretty good with words, is that you all have the space to stand here and to speak so much, but you're not hearing me.
That's it.
Yeah.
So
That's
then
half the problem.
communication is great when we can actually speak and understand, because the whole purpose of communication is I'm putting my words out here, my ideas, so you can internalize them, see what I'm saying, whether you agree with them, disagree with them, we can come to a compromise. So communication has to be that, not just talking.
Right.
Because
On
But hurry.
top
You're
of
talking about perceiving, also perceiving. When they walk into the situation, you can perceive. If you've been with that person long enough, you can also perceive what they're going through.
Right. But
Yeah.
that comes
But
with
I'm not-
intimacy.
Yeah.
But now but like you were saying with the communication, I'm saying you heard it, and now we're come to a conclusion. We go forward. But intimacy now builds that because within the dialogue and within you hearing,
Yeah.
and within me hearing, now we've created a space to where I don't even have to say, I'm upset, or I don't like, or
Yeah.
know that I can't do,
Or
or
I'm
that
tired.
I've worked
Yeah.
because this
Right.
morning I told you I
Yeah.
had a 12-hour shift, so now
But the
I've had 12 hours, so now
response
you can expect
is
to
just
move.
as important.
The response
as
is important
just
too, yeah.
Right,
comprehending
that's it.
it. I'm telling you guys are talking about my life right now. It's the bait and switch.
yes,
Being married one time, 12 years. I have 4 kids, 3 different babies' dads, my husband being one. And I asked him to marry me, but I was the one income-wise, everything. Once we got married, the whole complete switch. I want you to be a stay-at-home mom. I wanted you to do this. And I was like, I've never done that.
Right.
I've never, I've
That would be
worked
hard
since
too,
I was
yeah.
14 years old.
Right.
But when I was working, before we got married, I went to school too because I'm just like I love education for
Me
some
too.
reason, and just constantly doing stuff. I'll be the only one doing laundry, cooking, cleaning. Once every few weeks or whatever he'd cook, and he's an amazing cook. But it's far and in between. But the whole switch, that's when you were mentioning that, I was like, like, you don't know when changes are going to come. You can't prepare for those. Had I known, I'll try it out. I was like, I've never done this. No, absolutely not. It's not for me. So in between my stay-at-home mothering, I became an entrepreneur, which obviously there's better opportunities, just things that came about me being a stay-at-home mom. But like, you can't prepare for things that just, when you were saying, you got to be strong enough. No, you don't. No, you don't. You do not have to be strong. And I'm telling you this, especially in the Black community. You do not have to be strong. You go in that bathroom and you cry. You let that out, because when you don't, you let that on your kids. You do unhealthy things. Yes. You do not always have to be strong. You don't always have to be the one. That laundry will stay right there until it's needed to be done. It ain't running away.
It's not even in the dryer.
You know, like it's just not.
Sorry. There's
Like
I ain't never folded no clothes.
Trey. I mean,
What?
you
We was folding clothes right before we left the house.
Never
We were
folded
both
no
folding.
clothes.
You're sneaking out.
But yes, I see it.
Nice to meet you.
See it.
Like it is a struggle to be, especially if you have a spouse who has those high expectations and demands. You can't get away from that.
Yeah.
And then you learned it after you got married, not before.
Yeah.
So you can express expectations all you want. Whether or not it actually becomes that, you will never know unless you actually do it.
Right. And then, but as you know, people mature, and so
Yeah.
and grow or change, or like I said, their tastes
Yeah.
change. You can
Right.
like something and not like, I used to not eat bananas. I can
Yeah.
kind of tolerate them now. So people grow up, they mature. But
Right.
again, with the communication, but like I said, sometimes you can't predict those changes. You have to kind of roll with them when they
Right.
come, and then express. Well, I don't like that change. So now what are we going to do to
Yeah.
compromise?
And that's
here?
the
That's what I'm saying.
And that's the thing.
Yes.
is the
And then
compromise.
some of those changes you can't change.
Yeah. Some
Now
of
you
them
just
gotta
got to
eat.
deal.
Yeah.
Like, oh shoot, okay, well, it is what it is.
But I think also in that some things that can't change, like take for instance like health. Sometimes you can't change your partner's, like if their health fails.
Yeah.
And you have to like there can be some things that you can do to minimize that, but it's like if something happens where it's like, man, the doctors don't know anything, so we have to kind of adapt to this. Then you adapt and move on, but you also communicate still through those. You still communicate, and I think a lot of times people don't communicate through all those things. Like one part of it falls off, and then next thing you know, it's like, well, I didn't know we were supposed to be doing that. Like I didn't know I was supposed to be doing that. Well, it's like we should have talked. Like at every step, our communication should have been on point to where I know, like now the things that are changing are things we know are changing, the things we're talking about changing, and the things that we're game planning for.
But that's the thing, you can't. Oh, I'm telling you can't always prepare for that.
No.
You can communicate. You can communicate.
You can communicate though.
You can communicate exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
But whether or not.
But you
know
can't
when
plan.
these changes come or
Yeah,
what
but
these
you-
are going to be, like you just aren't going to know exactly what those are.
But my man
when it
just
comes
said,
to
he
calm
just
with
talked
your
about
partner.
that. It's like if we are rocking with each other and we
Right.
know we're rocking with each other, then there really shouldn't be. And I think that's why I'm so big on community, is because ultimately community, the elemental part of community is literally the relationship between two people.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. So if I'm rocking with you and we said we're going to communicate and I'm a decent person and you're a decent person, then we're not going to have, like I said, whether health fails or anything can be overcame if I know what's going on.
Right.
You might, you're stage 4 pancreatic cancer and something's going to go happen. We can work this out together, but let me know how you're feeling so that I know how to interact with you and do what I'm supposed to do. It's all about truly communicating, not you just
I
talking.
don't find that health is usually something that you have like, oh, I'm not going to be with you no more because you have cancer. Like that's not ever what I ever hear, ever. But not that it doesn't happen. I'm just saying in my community of people.
Working with medically fragile children, fathers leave often. Because they
It's too
don't
much.
want, it's way too much. And in fact, so much so to where I taken on a client where the father was present and I was shook because fathers leave often. And then it falls on these mothers who are tired. And it's sad. It's sad to watch because that's not something you prepare for. We're in love, we date, I get pregnant, this kid comes out with only God knows what. The dad don't want to put up with the kid or the tired mom. Because again, expectations. So now I expected you to be above and beyond, but you can't be above and beyond because you have to be even extra now for this medically fragile child, and they leave. And it, like I said, when I got to this one house and the dad stayed, and I was like, thanks, because you've now made my job easier too.
Right.
But it's just trash to see. It's trash that my response had to be that because, like you said, sometimes you just can't fix. You don't know what the changes are coming when they come. You don't know the kid's going to be sick. But I had listened to a podcast, and they said if you ask the spouses, the husband usually says that they're cool, and the woman is usually the one that's overly stressed and irritated.
And it says that in the divorce rates.
That's usually and that's usually because of the lack of communication. Because you had expectations and I met them, but you didn't meet mine.
Yeah.
And I find that it's even when you, maybe it's just my life, I don't know, that you can over communicate, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Yeah, I was about to say, because
there wasn't comprehension,
and
there wasn't response.
I'm a decent person,
and there wasn't response.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but it took two people that were there for that, because like I said, I'm pretty nice with the words when it comes to, I can paint a picture. I used to do teaching and all that kind of stuff, and it's like, even yet and still, if you weren't there, if you weren't the soil to receive that seed that I was trying to plant there, it's just not going to happen. So there wasn't communication there. There was me talking.
Right. We have to have a common ground. We both have to be. My mother taught me this. We both have to know the vision. We both have to know the desired end. We both have to make sure that everything we're doing is going that way. And if I tell you what you're doing isn't now going that way, it's your job to now pivot. And if you're not making that pivot, then now we need to adjust how we're doing things so we can now get the pivot to get to the desired end. Right. And if one of us, and if it's me or you, if one of us ain't doing it, now we got to figure out how to get both people on the same plane so we can get to the desired end.
Hardest
because
thing
we
to
can't
do.
Get there, but it's getting, sometimes it's getting the other person to come on.
It's the hardest thing.
That's the
what
hardest.
do we gotta do?
I like that.
But we gotta, but your partner has to be willing. And she said that's one thing I've always appreciated about my dad, is that he was always willing. When I said, he was always, if not always quick, he was always willing to at least try for me. Right. And then I can take the
But
try.
that's all you can really expect, trying,
that's
effort.
all.
And when
that's
they
all.
don't, I mean, and that's now when we have, now we have to reassess the marriage.
I think there's a bigger point in what you're saying too. The quickness, the speed at which somebody adapts.
You have to let them be them.
You have to let them be them.
Yes.
And it's like, I can't force you to go from a tortoise to a hare.
Right.
In the situations that we're
That's
going
hard.
through.
I gotta give you space.
When
to
I
be
say
who you
something,
are.
I be expecting.
But that again knows
and
your
it's
partner.
hard.
If you know that's how, if you know that y'all are right there with it because we're rocking with each other, then cool. But if you know your partner, dad got 3 things that he knows I cannot give, and she knows, well, she knew that I can't give him more than 3 things. So I'm gonna give him the 3 I need done today, and I'm gonna give him 3 more tomorrow. But you got to know your partner.
And I'll give this to
there's a flexibility to move.
and I'll give this to
you want to hope there is.
Right.
I'll give this to your viewers. I never expect someone to be me.
Yeah, you can't.
Literally never expect someone to be me. So if I'm communicating with you, and that's why I know, like, for the most part, I'm pretty decent at this, is because I don't expect you to take things. So I'm gonna hit you with 3 different metaphors, analogies, all that kind of stuff to make sure that you understand that. So if it didn't come across, it's because, you probably weren't in the place mentally to receive that. But yeah, that's, everybody ain't you. So when you're communicating, remember that.
Remember that.
I send the kids.
I'm gonna send whatever gentleman in my house, whether it be my, I'll send my daughter too, but I always send her last. But I will definitely call, because this is how Chris does things. He's such a sweet guy. I'd be like, babe, I'm gonna need the lawn mowed. Now, I'm not saying you go do it, because as soon as I say it, then he'll be like, oh yeah, okay, I'll do that. I'm like, no, we have a whole child upstairs. That little boy that live here rent free at 19, I'm gonna need you to bring him on
here
down.
for free. I'm gonna need him to do something.
Every day, all day. He's like, I got it. I'm like, no. I'm not that kind. Listen, sir, I've worked for you all my life, all your 19 years of life. I have worked for you. I've made sure you made sure you're happy, and made sure you don't need nothing.
All of your basic,
so exactly. I'm gonna need you to make sure I'm happy. Come on down here, sir. You know what I mean?
I told my 5-year-old that I don't owe you anything, bro.
Yeah.
I literally say that to him at 5 years old. I'm like, because they ain't gonna treat you like that. I know you 5. He's a smart 5-year-old.
Conversation that happened at 9 a.m. this morning.
Yeah.
I was asleep. Normally, my body wakes up at 7 a.m. But, we went to the comedy show and a little kickback afterwards. And so I woke up at 9.
Keep talking, because we ain't going to talk about that. Keep talking.
I woke up at 9. Listen, sir, the tickets were online. You could have got the tickets. But
anyway.
But
salty.
My phone rang at 9 a.m. this morning, and I had it on silent, so it was vibrating. I let it ring through because I saw it was my son. And then he called again. He said, Ma. I said, what? You just woke me up. I'm going to need you to take me to work at 10 a.m. I said, that's in an hour.
Or the bus.
That's in an hour. He's like, yeah. You going to take me? I said, yeah, because that gives you an hour to get them dishes done that I told you to get done.
Dang. The
He
snapback,
said,
though?
he hung up. I said,
were you asleep or not?
I called him right back. I said, did you
sound
hang
like
up
you just
on
woke
me? I said, that sound like you don't need no more rides from me, so you have a good day, but I'm going to still need you to get that kitchen done.
Oh, that's
all right.
funny.
Oh, you're better
Yeah,
than me.
you
I got
but
a lot of them. I
hey,
was like,
listen, hey.
I like the snapback, though. Moms are so good at that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey, but that reminds me. I told you last
Yeah.
Thursday.
Oh, because if I'm going to get out this bed where I'm relaxed and cuddle the heater on,
Yeah.
Sir, this is the give and take situation, and if you taking, you got to take that on elsewhere.
I'm trying to think. If
Okay,
mine-
that's how I do
My
mine.
kids be telling
Your
me,
daddy
"Yep,
lived
snapback, Mom."
5
Like,
lights
I
up
got
the
40,
street,
y'all, so I
sir.
gotta
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom.
Exactly. You got a job. I know there's apartment complexes with applications ready to go right now.
And needless to say, for the men and women, or the men that have these high expectations for women, not to say their jobs aren't hard, but I don't know if you guys ever really like looked into the man brain or the men brain and women's
every day.
brains. They're totally different.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And we said
And
last
the
week,
way
logical
they
versus emotional.
they restrict things, men can sit in one area in their mind the entire day.
Yeah, men
can't
are
even-
men are like
So much-
waffles.
yeah.
Women are like spaghetti.
Please
Men are like
explain.
waffles.
Crispy edges?
No, women are like.
Oh, that's pancakes? Okay, I was like,
I've never
crispy
heard
edges?
this.
I don't know. We were talking about
Because-
Yeah, I'm like,
I would think women
Because
are like
men-
waffles, many holes, lots
No,
of ideas
no,
going
because-
on.
No, I see
women-
what he's saying, though.
Because men
Women,
compartmentalize.
Yeah, we compartmentalize like
no, that's not
this.
even it.
This little thing over here
Men
does not
literally
touch this.
have two things. They don't think more than that. Women have millions. Of
No, that's what I'm saying.
different
That's
things.
that's
Just
the
so it's
sauce.
essentially,
Yeah, the
But
sauce.
men are literally
Another
thinking,
conversation
can
that
only think
happened
about
this
one
morning.
thing.
I rolled over. Chris rolled over. He tried to put his arm around me. I said, no. I said, you don't wake up stressed? I got 1,000 things on my mind. Why are you trying to touch me? I'm not even joking. That was this morning. He was like, God. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know how I
And
woke
see,
up.
that's
I was
like-
trying to figure out, make sure this boy get to work so he don't lose his job, even though I'm not taking him. There was so many things on my mind. Like, God, we got to get up and do laundry. Are we going to meal plan this weekend? Like, I'm like,
Exactly.
why? There's
The
too
sauce.
much.
The sauce is a new.
That's why I
Okay,
see that.
hit her with this because she's different.
Yeah.
This
Okay,
is
yeah.
my thing. But why do we do that to ourselves?
Why
I mean,
do
I
we?
don't. Not we, y'all.
I
Exactly. Yeah, like-
Talk to him.
No, we.
do. Because we're
Dudes are
supposed to be
like that one
Superwoman.
scene from Scary
We're supposed to be
Movies too,
Superwoman.
where you know that Hannibal Lecter scene where they popped over his head and you see that little midget like,
Just in there.
that's dudes.
I just feel like, but why? Because like you said, the laundry will be there. So I'm not about to think about it. Or we do have other things to do. So today, what I tell my clients all the time, write a list, put a start of the things that have to be done today, underline the things that can be done next week, and then delegate what you can. And I think us as mothers need to do a better job delegating to the kids and the other people in our homes. And
But
also,
if they don't do it at my satisfaction, then my mind is going crazy. Like, are you serious?
Or do we need to
you
change
couldn't wash
satisfaction?
out the
Or-
sink
and
when you were
here's the
done
thing, or
washing
do
the
we need to
dishes?
change? But again, dealing with people for who and what they are.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be upset with you. And I had to check my mom about this when I had gone back home. My dad had a couple of hip surgeries, so me and my sister went back home to help. And I had cleaned the kitchen or something when I was 28 years old. Cleaned the kitchen or something. She came home and complained about something else. I was like, how about be grateful that you don't have to clean the kitchen or cook? And so, yes, it wasn't to your expectation, but now you no longer have to do it, and that's something that's off of your plate. And so, and maybe that's just the way I think, because as long as it's not nasty, because there's a difference between my expectation and nasty. If it's nasty, now that's a teaching moment. Hey, look, fill the counter. There's still food on the counter.
I gotta give you
Life coach talk. Life coach
Or-
talk right
but-
here.
but it's-
Talk heavy.
You know what I'm saying?
Talk
Or
heavy.
be okay with the fact that it's
Yes.
clean. And I would rather be okay with the fact that it's clean and I can sit down than have to stress about, well, it's not the way I like it.
Yep, but
Because
now I
it's
gotta
done.
put on my list. Teaching
'Cause-
moment needs to be taught to her
Right.
tomorrow because this is not. But I'm not doing it right
All
now.
right, but
yeah,
you know what?
no.
Let's just
Like,
marvel in the
yeah.
fact that I'm okay with the fact that it's
Yep.
done. And it's not, my house is no longer nasty. And well, Avery's a really clean kid, so I kind of looked out in that part. But, and just be okay with the fact that it's done, whether it's my expectation or not. And then now I can teach you later, feel it, there's still food there,
Right.
next time pick it up. Go
They'll
on about the
argue.
day.
They'd be like,
But-
no, it is clean. I'd be like, you know what? I'm going to teach you something. It's clean. Lick that plate you just said was clean. Well, it got food right there. You just said it was clean. I'm going to need you to lick it. Show me it's clean because
And
you
then-
okay with
but
eating
now,
off
but
of
now
it.
next time
you want
don't
me
have
to eat
teach
off
it
of it.
again.
Yeah,
So-
no, and that's just a parent thing.
Yeah.
But my man over here and like, oh, I got 10,000 things on my brain. This is what I
I'm not
love.
no man, sir.
Oh, is it? What?
You said my man over here.
No, my man's over here.
Oh,
No,
thought
I
you
pointed to
pointed
him
at him.
first, and then I transitioned. It was quick. It was quick. You heard.
I was like-
no, my man wouldn't let me disrespect you like that. That's why I said my man's, and I'm over here.
Yeah.
So I love this about relationships because being able to understand that, like you're here, like I'm only thinking about two. I'm like, hey, what's going on, sweetheart? You know.
Right.
And then it's like, and you're over here thinking about, it's like, man, he ain't did that. Boom, 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 boom. But like being able to start perceiving that about each other, where it's like, man, maybe sometimes I'll be like, you know, I am gonna snuggle up because you know what?
I
He's
try
a
to
good
shut my
man.
brain off.
No,
I do.
and
I do.
that's
Because
great.
in the now.
And I could tell you do
Yeah.
that, but I'm saying is like, but you know, sometimes I know it doesn't always happen, but it's like that's the thing I love about relationships is that aspect. So
Yeah,
I agree.
You
Once
gotta
I
learn
turn
to be
around and look
present
at him,
now.
like, he is cute.
She's like, he is cute.
I sleep with my back to him because I like to face the wall, and he likes to face the wall. So it's easier to say no when you ain't looking at somebody.
Yeah.
You turn-
See, mine is right
Or-
when I'm in the middle of thinking about so many different things. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I've got to take her to basketball. We got to go to this game. I got to still do dinner, so I had to put something in the crock pot. This
Trey
morning.
just sent these.
You know,
now I gotta
I
try to
don't-
look them up. No, I'm just joking.
I could put the laundry aside for the day, but like, oh, I still got to have a conference call over here and do
I would
this.
annoy
We love you,
you.
Trey.
I would annoy you because I'd have been like, you've been saying all this stuff, and I'd be like, these nuts. Just like, yo, you gotta chill sometimes.
And that's my thing. I literally
And it's a wrap,
cannot.
guys. No, I'm just joking.
I literally cannot say those things out loud. That's how many things I have to do in a day. That's why I carry.
But
Pointer with
I
all
think
the
us
things that I
guys,
do.
we like even if we had even if we had partial
Yeah.
of that,
Yeah.
like the waffle analogy, art is over. It's in these different buckets versus yours. You guys have just said it. It's entangled. That you cannot take the sauce off the noodle once you put the sauce on there. So everything is entangled. Your like how you feel about your mom might have been entangled with the food you ate.
Start
in the
crying while you
morning.
making spaghetti.
Exactly.
Like literally, like I'm making
Yeah.
dinner and I'm crying. And he's like,
Yeah.
I don't know what you
Yeah,
talk about.
yeah.
We just came from.
Yeah, or Chris is like, yo, I just wanted to roll over, and you're thinking about stressors that are might not be ahead of your day, and it's like sometimes I think it's different for guys because I got stressors that are in these couple buckets, but if I'm
What
sitting
if they
there,
don't serve ranch at the restaurant?
but I can go to exactly, I can go to sleep.
Yes.
And also, I'm thinking about
I
going
can't
to
even
going to
sleep.
see Spider-Man on Friday.
I can't
So,
even sleep 'cause
and
I just
I'm like,
stress out
I'm
before I
going.
go to bed and when I
But
wake up.
that's it.
You
But
get some stocks in the
but
AMC with that one?
but there's like a lot of other things, but they're not until they come up. They're not in
Right.
my like. They're I do not care about
I'm
them.
a Gemini.
Until
We
it's time
think
to
12
care
days
about them.
Until it's time to care
ahead.
about
I don't
them.
know what
Yeah.
it
See,
is.
and I'm thinking 2 years ahead.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
yeah, see,
See,
yeah,
I was
right.
thinking you brought up the Spider-Man thing. Time to put some stocks in the AMC right now. You know it's about to go stupid, right? It's about to be
I can't
stupid.
deal. This is what I'm married to.
Talk about like
y'all.
little $200 right here, yeah.
So, yo,
Let's see
you
what
know,
happens.
AMC about to come back
I
up.
know,
You know,
right?
Omicron's gone. You know,
I
Delta's
cannot
gone.
deal, y'all.
But anything she said, he might not really be like he might know
Yeah.
about it, but he is not really in the front of his head. He just thought of
It
something.
ain't even in the
Yeah.
back of his head.
And, so,
And it doesn't sit.
it doesn't sit. It doesn't
Right,
sit. Yeah, it doesn't sit
right.
for us. It doesn't sit. It literally
Yeah.
just standing in the room, and then it walks out the door. And we might say, okay, I need to like worry about that later. But at the same time, it doesn't like.
It's some of the
but
most
see,
peaceful places to be when
Yeah.
you think about as a no, I'm saying going because I'm Amber and I, we get along a lot because I say, yo, this is my nigga, because she has a very logical side, but she's also very much a woman. And I have very feminine, I have feminine things about me in terms like my communication. Like I'm pretty good with that. So I've always had a lot of women friends. I'm not very emotional at all. So it's like, there's very like logical. And so it's like we come together, but I just love that I think the women who've kind of been able to be around me and understand that part about like yeah, we got that stuff to do, but this
right.
they've been able to really glean that, and as they've walked away or wherever they are in life, I think they've always took that with them. That it's like at some point you just gotta chill because
Right.
life is still gonna be there, it's still gonna kick you in
See,
the
and
face.
that's the thing,
Yeah.
though. If my husband were to turn around in the morning and want to cuddle, everything would drop.
And
That's me
Right.
because I would literally be like, oh.
yeah, my cuddle is D's
Oh,
nuts.
no, 'cause then I'm thinking, okay, this is an hour.
Nothing else matters without me telling the kids at school. I'm sorry. this
Okay,
is
I have to
much
Yeah.
note that down.
Yeah.
Maybe not
This,
say
that, and
these
the
nuts,
other,
maybe
like-
cuddle.
Yeah, but I
Okay.
think
Do not listen to
that's
them,
true.
Chris.
Ours is jokes because I would be like, "Can I pet that dog? Can I pet that dog? Can I pet that dog?"
Tough room. It's a tough room, you know. That's kind of
That's hilarious.
Yeah, no.
No, because
Okay,
I'm
so you
thinking,
need a
okay,
cuddle.
now
I was like,
she
no,
already
no,
takes forever to
Nothing's
wake
getting
up.
done after that.
Got it right.
I wouldn't get the cuddle.
The day is just over.
That's what I would
It's
enjoy,
over.
though. Is that, but I'd be getting the joke.
The joke.
Never
jokes.
leave
Man,
that
this is
room.
chill, player.
Right. That's exactly
Right.
what I'm saying.
That's right.
I literally sometimes it's just two different TikToks. There's that one, and then there's
that's
people be
funny.
looking at me, and I'd be like, "What you looking at, stranger?" And I could have a conference call, and that's all that's on my mind.
Never heard that.
I'm paying
That's
attention to the conference call,
funny.
but not really. Like,
But not really.
But not really. So, but we're about to get out of here. I thank y'all so much.
2 topics.
I know
That's
we got to
every
put them off for next week.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, what was the last one? Because I like
Last
the two
one
that
was
we did touch because I was
Kamala Harris.
Oh, huh? Because what
Yeah.
has she been?
God
But
bless
go
her.
ahead and do your thing.
Also,
No.
finance or something like that, or the.
Oh, it was about inflation, but we can.
I wanted
Yeah.
to touch Yo, that's my.
We gotta go. It's after
Yeah, I know we have to
Yeah,
go, but that
yeah.
was that,
So we
that was
can get that. I'll bring
I
a
got
heater.
pancakes to get to.
We'll bring a
Yeah,
heater.
pancakes.
Oh, with crispy edges.
That's where the crispy edges.
They taste like cake. My mama's from the South. These things be sweet.
Oh, those. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Don't do that one.
Don't do that.
Lonely.
But thank y'all so much for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe. Black Pew Podcast on YouTube, IG, Facebook, Twitter. And we'll see y'all next week. Peace.